The Arc phone that we mentioned way earlier in this podcast is it's basically a cell phone that's just a link to you and Arceus, aka God. You're just getting DMs
AKA
from,
God.
yeah, you're getting DMs from God the whole time, like what you do and where you at, like kind of
Hey
stuff.
God, about to go to the club, get fucked up
Yeah.
again.
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's your boy Shaheener coming at you with another episode of the Pokemon Babblers podcast, and I'm joined here with my co-host Bano916.
Hey guys.
Hey, and we are here to talk about another game from the Generation 8 series of games, and that, of course, is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Or Arceus, depending on how you want to pronounce
I don't
that.
even think they know how to say it, dude.
I think it is Arceus. I remember I had like an 8-year-old kid years ago correct me on it. I said Arceus. He's like, it's Arceus!
I
And
know, it's like one of those weird things that, the kids see it and then they develop their own linguistic of how it's supposed to be said, and then the Pokemon company comes around and like, oh no, this is how you say it.
Yeah.
And then it turns on everybody's head because people are like, no, it's this, no, it's that, and at the end of the day, nobody really cares.
Yeah, I think it was maybe the movie that they were calling it Arceus.
Yeah, because before that, I'm pretty sure everybody called it Arceus.
Yeah.
Or Arceus.
Yeah, because I always called it Arceus, but I feel like I've had to correct myself since that child insulted me.
I was just say, I don't know if you can find the clip, but do you remember when they talked about Pokemon in House, the show?
In House?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, I think I saw that clip like ages ago.
Which is why Arceus created a universe with 3 states of matter and 300 solid and liquid poisons that could cause his symptoms.
Arceus?
Look it up.
I know, right? That's
Yeah.
a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Pokemon has a far reach, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we always think of it as just like the little like
A game.
Yeah, just like a game. Like there's some like other parts of the franchise, but little do we that we keep in the the forefront of our minds is that it's still the biggest media franchise of all time by a long shot too.
Right.
So
Big money.
Yeah, big money. Money.
Anywho, we're here today to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus, a game nobody knew they wanted, but so glad that we got.
And that's always the best part about these developers and creatives is that they give us stuff that we didn't know that we wanted, but then when it shows up, you're like, this is everything I wanted. This is everything I needed. All that I wanted.
So, this game came pretty much out of left field because I'm pretty sure leading up to it, nobody really had I'm pretty sure there were rumors. I can't remember them too well, but I'm pretty sure nobody was like, Game Freak's working on a completely new game. It's gonna be called Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's gonna be like this brand new open world, blah 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 kind of game. So it really came out of left field, or at least I remember being quite pleasantly surprised at the reveal on Pokemon Day in 2021.
Yeah, that definitely took me for a loop as well. I was not expecting that. I mean, yeah, there were like the leak Twitter pages and stuff that were mentioning it or trying to talk about it, and everybody's just like, "No, you're stupid. Like, why do they do that?"
And I think the reveal trailer was really well done because it had like a bunch of the drawings of ancient times, and it really didn't give too much of the what the game would be like away, because I believe it focused more on shots of the Pokemon and art, CG, not CGI, but stuff to that wasn't in the game, that was just fancy artwork to help sell the game to us.
Exactly.
On Pokemon Day.
I still feel like that at least throughout the whole release cycle of this, that we didn't really get much until right near the end of it. I feel like that they weren't trying to lead us on to what it was going to be. It was just oh yeah, there's these things that you could do, but then they didn't actually delve into really how substantial it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to talk about not in this episode, but maybe at a later date, is talk about Pokemon marketing, because I believe up until the release date, there were maybe 4 or 5 trailers that came out for this game. Yeah. And I can't tell if it's because it's the games just sell on the names themselves, or if the marketing is just well, Pokemon's so big we don't have to market it, so because people will buy it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't see any huge marketing trailers like there were back in the day with that. Do you remember that bus commercial with the Game Boy Color?
Yeah, I definitely remember that one. I remember seeing it on TV.
And stuff like that. And then there's tie-ins to the anime, because they had an episode where they used the old Pokeballs with Cynthia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
the marketing aspect is, for me, is kind of minimal, because you see other games get like fucking spotlight on main television, like Horizon Zero
Raid
Dawn
Shadow
is
Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Shout out to Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, the most recent one I can remember is that like Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West got like prime time, like screen time on TV, and
Yeah.
very good marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But with Pokemon games, I can't. It's either or for me. Either it's just the name sells it so much,
Mm-hmm.
or the few trailers that they give really sell it to people.
Yeah. I don't remember the last game I saw for Pokemon as an advertisement. It might have been Sun and Moon, I think. Yeah, it's possibly Sun and Moon. I think I remember, yeah, I think I remember seeing that like TV ads. But I remember vividly the advertisement they had for the anime on it was the 4Kids at WB, Kids WB. I remember a lot of advertising for it on there.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, before we continue, I'm just gonna crack open a cold one for my boys. Oh yeah.
So we'll talk broadly about the game before we start focusing on specific aspects of the game. So, for an overview, this game is not a standard main series game in the sense that you go on a journey to collect 8 badges and complete the Pokedex. It's a game in the sense that you still do complete the Pokedex. You still go out and catch Pokemon. However, I feel like this game is a little bit more story driven, more so than other ones. I think it reaches for that high of Gen 5 that we keep talking about in terms of story. I don't think it surpasses it, but I think it made more of an effort than, say, Sword and Shield did.
Right.
I think it's better than Sun and Moon. Definitely better than X and Y. Yeah. But yeah, for where on the tier of story it ranks for me, it's definitely below Gen 5, but it's above everything else that they've come out with recently.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid story. I mean, it definitely got better as it got to the climax, so, like, just getting raising the stakes higher and higher.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think it's better than Gen 5, but definitely not as campy as the other ones too, which is a good thing. I'm so sick of the camp at this point. Like, give me something a little more like serious.
And so for continuing our overview, you visit different areas that's based in the Sinnoh region of old, which in their time was called Hisui. If I'm saying that right.
Hisui.
The Hisui region, and it's markedly different. There's some areas that are the same, but it's markedly different from Sinnoh in the proper timeline. They made an effort to go out of the way to name some areas as different areas, though the way the map is structured, it's kind of hard to see. But I'm not gonna charter every piece of the map and be like, oh, this should be Sanjam Town, and this should be this, and that should be that.
Yeah, we'll leave like Game Explained and the Game Theorists and stuff.
Yeah,
to,
people who have way more time to do stuff like that. But
got paid to do
overall,
stuff
it is
like
I would say it is a side series game that had the budget of a main series game.
You think it's side series?
I would say it's a side series game because I wouldn't consider it a main series game. But it definitely had the budget. It had the budget of a main series game.
Yeah, I think it's main series. I mean, not only for the fact that Game Freak developed it, but it's just like it adds to like, I mean, it introduces the new forms. It is like, I mean, yeah, it's still like Gen 4. I don't consider like a remake or reimagining or anything. It's like it's a wholly new game, but it's still based in like one of the main series areas. Because I feel like with the spin-offs that they have some makeup region for it, but with this one, it's still based technically like the ancient Sinnoh or like early Sinnoh. I mean, sorry, Hisui. But,
okay. But yeah, you can let us know in the comments whether you consider this a main series game or a side series game. For me, it's a side series game with the budget of a main series game. Like Alex said, they introduce some new Pokemon and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have to remember stuff like Pokemon Go introduces stuff like Meltan and Melmetal. So, and there are other side series games like Call us XD, I believe, and it has Munchlax and Bonsly in it.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing the Munchlax while I was playing through XD recently.
Yeah. So, like I said, yeah, for a broader view, you do catch Pokemon, you do complete the Pokedex and stuff like that, and that's just a broad overview. We'll go over into details and stuff like that. But is there anything else you want to say on like a general overview of the game before we get into the nitty and gritty?
It is almost completely different it is pretty much completely different from any other standard Pokemon game up to this point. It's like there's some similarities to like previous entries, but it really tries to forge its own path here, and I think that this is the path that Game Freak will probably want to continue with.
Right. Yeah. And so we'll go ahead and start getting into the details, and I guess we'll kind of like drop the plot because it goes over with all like the way we set this up is that it like some of these stuff comes up in the story first, so we'll drop little hints of the bits of the story. So anyway, the game starts with you at a black screen talking to some light, and it tells you it's clearly transporting you from our modern day or something like
Mhm.
that. And then it transforms your mobile phone into the Arc phone, and then drops you in the middle of the old history region, where you encounter the professor of this generation, Professor Laventon, with his dope hat.
Mhm.
He asks you to help with catching some of the Pokemon, which are the starter Pokemon, and introduces you to the catching mechanics. So let's start with the starter Pokemon of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott. What were your thoughts when they told us that the starters were going to be those three?
I was surprised. I was very surprised. I'm like, different
Right,
generation starters,
right,
and it's like none of them are Gen 4 Pokemon. Like none of them
right.
are like native to Sinnoh, at least as
Well,
far as we
let me tell
know.
you what my thought was. My
Yeah.
thought was why.
Yeah, it was a total just why. Like why them?
Right.
I mean, granted, I'm always happy to see Cyndaquil, but
Mm.
it's yeah, it was just why would they choose these three?
Yeah, later we found out the specific reason why they chose them
Mhm.
was because they gave them different forms. I mean, I can understand Samurai and Decidueye as
Mhm.
like the swordsman and the archer.
Yeah.
Don't know about Typhlosion. That one's out of left
Yeah,
field.
that was kind of. I mean, honestly, I mean, I feel like they could have done Hisuian forms for any of, like, any of the
Right.
Pokemon just in
Right.
general. But
And I'll say it till the day I die. I really dislike the fact that they give Hisui forms to like an evolution and not to like the original base forms.
yeah,
Prime example, Cubone
mhm,
should have been Alolan Cubone.
yep.
And as well as these three, they definitely should have all had his different, different forms and not been Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and
Or
Oshawott
Pikachu, even like usually
or Pikachu.
they want to mutilate Pikachu as much as possible. So I'm
Right?
surprised that
You'll
they
give
gave
me a
a
Pikachu clone, but you
yeah
won't give me a Pikachu form.
cowards.
Cowards. But yeah, I will say that to them, dead and blue in the face, that they should have done that. But anyway, obviously, Professor Laviton has the starters, and they're just running about, and you have to try to catch them.
Mhm.
So that introduces the new catching mechanic. So no longer are we bound to a screen that says catch and throw
Turn
the ball,
based.
and yeah, turn based and let your trainer throw the ball. You, as the player, now have the power to arc the ball and throw it. I don't have the footage, otherwise I would send it to you. But when I was playing it and Jeff was my only viewer, I like long shotted a ball that caught Cyndaquil on the first
Oh,
try.
that's awesome.
So yeah, it's definitely fun. I enjoy the mechanic because you yourself are having to gauge like how far the Pokemon is, as
Mhm.
every ball has an arc.
Also, the
We'll get
different
there.
balls have different trajectories
I was
too.
gonna say, yeah, there are different balls, and some of them have different trajectories than others. But
Mhm.
obviously, I only use the Pokeballs, so I don't give a shit about the other ones. Yeah, so that was definitely interesting, and you get tossed in the water. I don't, you can fail in the sense that they break out,
Mhm.
but you can't fail in like not catching them. I mean, they'll just like break out and run around. So
Right.
it is like a nice little tutorial area to help you
Get acquainted
figure
with
out,
the mechanics.
get acquainted with the mechanics.
Yeah,
And then
because
from
it I
there, there's a little bit of story beats where you're introduced to the town and the what is it, the Galactic Core?
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the different aspects of the core and them, help it's a very interesting story about how it's a group of people from different regions who've come to the Hisui region to like settle there. They're not natives to the region, even though you have the characters that about the game,
Mhm.
about current Sinnoh that live there. But they're just like, I don't want to say refugees, but I guess that's what they are because they've all come from different regions to settle in Hisui. You get this mismatch of people trying to carve their way out in the world of Hisui, and at this point in time, Pokemon and people aren't really the best of pals like the way they are in the current world.
Mhm.
It's trying to project that thing that people are trying to learn about Pokemon, and there are definitely some points in the game where people are just straight up anti-Pokemon, like, oh, Pokemon can't be trusted, and Pokemon and people will never get together.
Mark my words, they'll never get
Yeah, they'll
together.
never
They'll
get
never
together,
get
and it's
along.
your job as the newest addition to the was it the research core?
Yeah, yeah, the research. Yeah, I think it's
Uh,
research
I
core.
I can't remember what the specific name was. You might want to look that up. But anyway, your core is in charge of catching Pokemon and helping Professor Lavenson complete the Pokedex, and helping to learn, it's very in depth, like learning what it is that takes Pokemon off and what to do when avoiding Pokemon, like don't go running around in a combi nest,
Hmm.
don't just kick over a Bidoof dam, otherwise you're gonna get mauled to death.
I mean,
Stuff like that.
they might take you in. I mean, the homies represent, you know.
Bidoof.
Yeah, Beedoo.
And yeah, so then, you're given your first job, which is to go into the first area of the game, which
The Obsidian
is
Fieldlands.
the Obsidian Fieldlands, and you're, tasked with with catching a Pokemon. And then you're also tossed in the tutorial of crafting, which is a new aspect of this game that we haven't had to do before, because this is the modern day where you can buy your Pokemon balls or Pokeballs from the Pokemart. You got to make your own shit.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to make your own stuff with this one, and they'll show you like, hey, this is how you acquire these
Right.
materials. This is where you go to craft them. We're gonna give you a little portable one, but only if you have them on your person, and that's not like in your storage. And
Right.
also, it was cool with that, at least that first beginning strip of the Obsidian Fieldlands, it shows you the different personalities of Pokemon. It could show if they're going to be more docile, if they're going to be more skittish and run off, because they can run
Hmm.
off and you could lose your encounter possibly. And then
Right.
there's some that are going to go aggressive and attack you. And that actually leads into a little bit of that. Your trainer, your character has their own health. I mean, it doesn't
Hmm.
show you a direct meter of it, but
Right.
if you get hit enough times, then it'll kind of like flash red and
Yeah, your screen will start to
yeah,
like
like freak
gradually get
out.
blacked out.
Hmm. Exactly. So you got to watch out for that because if you get knocked out, you lose a bunch of your items on your person.
Right.
So
They always laughed when they said don't go into the tall grass. Now we know why. Now you're gonna get fucked up.
exactly.
So, yeah, and the crafting aspect was something I didn't know I wanted. However, I felt like they put their pinky toe in, they didn't go full in.
Hmm.
Because I felt like this would have been a prime time to invent like new balls. I mean, they had the heavy ball, but is that really like, a leap?
I
I
mean,
mean, we already had a heavy
not
ball.
really, but I really, really, really loved the wing ball and that whole
Wing
line.
ball.
The feather, wing, and
Yeah.
jet balls. I loved those. They were great. But
Yeah.
also, how
So
do they
for
know what a jet is in ancient Hisui?
I don't know. Well, you have to think about it in terms of
Yeah, yeah,
it's kind
exactly.
it's
Exact
like it's
checkmate.
like
Have you ever
it's like
had a dream
you have to think about it like
that
this. Like sometimes
that you
words
you had
are
you
happen before
you
something
could
is at
you
like
do
not
you
jet in
you want
particular, but
you
like
you could do so
there's
you
like
do you could
roots of words that come
you
before
want
going to
him to
making
do
someone
you
else.
so much you
I
could
don't
do
know where I'll go with it.
anything.
I'll tell you
Uh,
after we like objects are named after words that have already already
that
exist. Like
exists.
I don't know about jet, but
Woo, woo,
there's some other stuff.
woo. Jet.
But yeah, I feel like they really like put their pinky toe in. I feel like we could have went like real in depth with the amount of balls. I'll always be a champion for the apricorn balls to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring bring apricorn balls back.
Hmm.
I feel like that would have been a great addition to this game, and added a lot more variety to the crafting system.
Yeah, because like
Because it's
that
very
would have been
basic.
that would have been nice to have like the apricorns to craft with. I'm surprised that they didn't have that, unless if
Mm,
the apricorns are specifically a Johto only thing, which is insane. But
right. They
uh,
only exist in the Johto region.
only,
But
never
yeah, no,
gone
because
anywhere
there
else.
are apricorns in the Isle of Armor.
Hmm. Right.
So,
Like why not in
yeah,
Hisui?
right. Not to mention, spoiled apricorns are in the game as well, I believe.
Hmm.
And I believe apricorns are in the game, but it's just the red one.
Yeah, yeah, that's so weak. Like
Oh no, I
give
think they're
give
all in the
me the
game.
lure ball.
Blue and black are in the
Yeah.
game.
Also, that was
And
something I want to mention as well. I mean, I'm sure that we'll get into it later on, but catching Pokemon while you're in the water it sucks.
yeah,
It is so bad. I
it's
can't catch
terrible.
anything, even if my life depended on it. Anyways.
Yeah. So moving on, you complete your little story thing and go back to the village, and then you're introduced to missions and requests, which are basically your bread and butter, and your like padding of the game until you reach major story points.
Hmm.
And these missions can be, anything in between from catching a certain type of Pokemon to evolving this type of Pokemon to completing Pokedex research, which I think we'll go ahead and combine these two topics into the same thing.
Right.
So your Pokedex isn't a machine. Your Pokedex is a journal that assumedly either you or Professor Laventon write in that talks about the aspects and characteristics of each Pokemon. And to coincide with that, there are specific challenges that the Pokedex that are required of you that are like catch X amount of Pokemon, usually catch like a Pokemon of a certain weight a couple of times, or watch this Pokemon do a certain amount of moves X amount of times.
Exactly.
And that's supposed to be like the catalyst to be like, oh, I've seen the behavior of this Pokemon a number of times, therefore I can assume that it does stuff like this. It's really scientific thinking in the way of like, you see it, you've caught a bunch of them, you have a sample size, and then from there you can, make a deduction that Shinx had, the male and female Shinx are different because of the little coif on their head is longer on the males and different from the females, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that is how you do your Pokedex research.
Yeah, and while you're filling out those entries, because like Bono said, it'll say like, oh, catch this Pokemon X amount of times, or catch it while it's unaware, or using certain types of moves. When you reach certain criteria of that certain request, you'll get points on like it's called a research level. And so you have to get this research level higher and higher to complete the entry. And so the highest level that you can get is to research level 10. And after that, after you get research level 10, then you'll actually have higher odds of finding it as a shiny Pokemon as well. Each Pokemon has their own entries and own requests. I mean, a lot of them kind of cross over, like catch it a certain amount of times, have it do this certain move. There are actually certain Pokemon that evolve by the research criteria. Like there are new Pokemon evolutions, like for Stantler, for example, that you have to have it do a certain new move like 10, 20 times, and then it's eligible to evolve, which also helps with your research tasks on your Pokedex.
And so I think some of them are actually tied to the missions and requests. Like I think in one of the Pokedex research tasks actually tasks you with completing the mission for it in order to have that that box checked in the research tasks. And so a lot of they're kind of set up to like pad the game out, give you items, but also help you complete your Pokedex by having you do that. And like Alex said, when you complete most of the Pokedex research tasks, it gives you a higher shiny chance, but it's only for that Pokemon. So if you complete the Pokedex research task for Starly, then you have a higher chance of finding a Starly. It does not work for Staravia and Staraptor. If you want to find a higher chance of finding those shiny, you'd have to complete the Pokedex research for that. Or, it wouldn't give you a better chance of finding a shiny Bidoof.
There's also a difference, too, between completing a Pokedex entry and perfecting a Pokedex entry, which perfecting is not necessary at all. I don't think there's any sort of reward for perfecting, and I think it's the same thing with like Breath of the Wild, for example, with the Korok seeds, is that they really try to get you not to perfect it, but at least to be sufficient enough. But if you do perfect it, it'll have a specific like icon on the Pokedex entry that you perfected it. But I don't think I perfected anything else other than Arceus because they immediately make you perfect it. But yeah, I just completed everything. I didn't perfect anything because I wanted to get the shiny charm to up my chance of finding shiny Pokemon.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you do your missions and requests and your Pokedex. But before we continue on, how did you feel about the Pokedex research task? I felt like it's like what they've always wanted you to feel when you're completing the Pokedex. They want you to feel like you're actually contributing to a scientific thing rather than just catching stuff and putting it in a box and filing it away for another day.
Yeah.
Because back in not Ruby and Sapphire, Red and Blue, you're using the Pokedex and you're led to believe that this is the first time you're doing it, and you're also like recording information, but you're recording the information, but it's like, well, who the hell's writing the Pokedex entries if you're just recording? Am I writing them? Am I writing about this morbid shit about Hypno stealing children away?
Yeah.
And but Gengar being the soul of a dead Pokemon, and like all these like messed up Pokedex entries, like who's writing those? But
yeah. I never thought about that actually.
Right.
When you
for this
it's
one
like,
though,
who's writing it?
who's writing these? But for this game though, I really get like I feel like that that's what they wanted you to feel, and I feel like it's better portrayed in this game because it's more of a focus than collecting 8 badges and fighting a champion or fighting the Elite Four.
Yeah, it's more rewarding in a scientific sense.
It's
And
more
I mean,
rewarding. Yeah.
granted, the tasks do become redundant after a while. If you're like marathoning to like just get the shiny charm, it did feel a little bit redundant after a while. But you
Right.
get a rhythm, you get a pattern of like what you need to do. But
Mhm.
I do find it more rewarding instead of just catch one Pokemon and then forget about it. The only thing is
Mhm.
that for a lot of the entries, you have to catch so many Pokemon, and it fills up your box space. And I mean,
Mhm.
granted, they allow you the option of like when you mass release Pokemon that you get rewards for it, like you'll get certain like items and perks and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I do feel like it's like you're taking the Pokemon for granted. Is that you're catching 20 Magikarp, but at what cost? Like you're just gonna
Right.
release them, and you're not having
Right.
that bond with those Pokemon. You're just doing it to fill an obligation.
Right. It's kind of like the beginning episode of the Diamond and Pearl series with Paul. I think I remember specifically he catches like 5 Starly and then uses his Pokedex to check for stats and then releases the other 4 and keeps
Isn't
going.
that just like a competitive player though? It's like, they
Maybe.
don't have the right nature.
Shout out.
Yeah,
But
shout
yeah,
out to the competitive community. Shout out to Smogan.
yeah, but yeah. So the you definitely don't have like a bond with someone because I remember Mass releasing like tons of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about the one mission that everybody knows, and if you don't know, I can't believe you
If you don't
played the game
know,
without
now
knowing
you
it.
know.
Is that there is a mission that introduces shiny Ponyta to the game,
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
you are able to catch a shiny Ponyta, and it's not like hyped up or anything. It's just a regular mission that says, "Hey, I saw a Ponyta of a strange color the other day. Do you mind going out to see it?" And then you go out there, and it's just hey, shiny Ponyta, and
Yeah,
you catch it.
exactly. And that's a good demonstration, especially if you're doing that early game, to show you
Hmm.
that the shiny Pokemon are visible in the overworld.
Right.
It's which is also different from the other games in the sense that like I mean with like BDSP that it showed like a little patch if you're using the Pokeradar, but it
Hmm.
wouldn't show you the shiny Pokemon in the overworld. This one shows you specifically, hey, this is a shiny Pokemon. Go like right there, like it'll
Right.
flash it like a sparkle, and it'll show its color in the overworld too, which is awesome.
Right. But aside from that, most missions have to do with like certain side characters. Like, I think you make one person like really happy if you like like do like a bunch of. I can't remember what it is. That might be confusing with Breath of the Wild. Like, if you, but most of it has to rely with like either finding people or showing people Pokemon and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like super huge that you're missing with the missions and
Yeah,
requests aside from the Ponyta.
yeah,
And like we talked about the Pokedex research task, I feel like it's way more fulfilling and it's definitely more engaging to like finish it because with each time you go back to town and you turn in like your Pokedex, because you do get experience for your Pokedex, and then when you like get enough experience, you can talk to the leader of your research corps and she'll give you an extra rank, which then unlocks different missions as well as like what as it's also your like what do you call it? Your limit as to Pokemon what level Pokemon can obey you at.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's how they did it so that you can't like go out into the wild catch a Pokemon that's like above your level cap because there are some of them that are out there and then if you do successfully catch it like they won't listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way how they limit. So it encourages you to go out and I believe you get more experience like the more you fill out like a Pokemon's
Yeah, the
research
higher,
task. So if you like
yeah.
yeah if you like max out the research tasks on a Starly, you'll get more experience than if you just like did one research task on Starly
Yeah.
and one on Bidoof and one on Shanks.
Yeah, and
So
your overall level will go up too, which
yeah,
will also allow more Pokemon to obey you. You'll get more recipes for crafting.
yeah. The last two aren't really anything until like
Yeah,
because by that point you've
yeah,
already. I
yeah.
think it's a very
Levels 9 and
steady
10, they only
are
give you
kind of just
money. They don't give you anything else. There's no
yeah.
perks to 9 and 10, which I've gotten to
It's
level
kind of
10,
just
there's
it's not.
nothing.
So yeah, I think it's up to like 8 is like all Pokemon will obey you
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But yeah, moving on. As Alex said, some of the Pokemon in the wild are aggressive, whereas some are more docile and some are just frightened and will like book it as soon as they see you. So battling in this game is a little bit is different because in order to engage in battle with wild Pokemon, you must switch from your Pokeballs to your actual Pokemon, which can be done at the switch of a button. So that was great because when you're running around, you have your HUD out, and then you have your choice between either your items like your Pokeballs and your stuff to throw, like to distract Pokemon or like weaken them, and then you could switch to your Pokemon that you've actually caught to use in battle. And if you want to just battle something, you catch it unaware, you could throw your Pokeball at it, or if it's coming straight at you, you throw your Pokeball at it, and that'll release your Pokemon.
Mhm. And
And your Pokemon are also your Pokemon are also used to harvest what do you call it, resources that you yourself can't get do. So like apricorns from a tree, Pokemon will headbutt that. Rocks that contain minerals for Pokeballs, your Pokemon basically use Rock Smash and stuff like that. And so that also helps it. But yeah, back to battling, you'll actually square up against Pokemon pretty close depending on where you're at. If it's like running straight at you and you throw your Pokeball right in its face, that yeah, you're gonna get stuck there. And I don't think I ever encountered a situation where, because like you said, you take damage in the game. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I've been so close to the battle that the attacks actually hit me. And
that happened to me before.
And that I don't think I took enough damage to lose. Because I think you can also move your character during the battle screen.
Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely move your character. You could actually get hit by your own Pokemon's moves too, which is kind of funny. But
right.
Yeah, the battles are like they feel different this time around too. And like despite your level, like everything does a lot of damage nowadays. Even if there's a big level disparity between you and the opponent, like they could still like knock out a lot of your health too, which is really strange. It seems like that some of the stats and like attack power and stuff are kind of arbitrary. If it's like you that are lower leveled against a higher level, then you'll get your ass handed to you. But if it's the other way around where you're like super high level, they can still like do a noticeable amount of damage on you. Like they could pretty badly maim you.
So yeah, you can get scraps with Pokemons. There are also like a very few amount of trainer battles, but for the most part, they are still all turn-based. However, there is a little bit of a difference in the sense that speed still decides who goes first. However, they introduced two new mechanics, that being the strong and the agile style, which is basically like some different form of attack. Strong style adding more damage to your attack, whereas agile style might give your Pokemon more speed, which gives it more turns to attack.
Yeah.
So it's that trade-off between do I want to hit this thing harder so that it can faint first, or do I want to attack with agile style to prevent it from attacking me twice in a row, or attacking me sooner rather than later. So there is that aspect to the game. I don't think it adds like another layer of complexity to the battle system. I really feel like it's just there. There's not like
for me it's just a way of getting the battle done sooner.
It's not, yeah, there's not too much fussing about it, but it also does play into your like Alex said, evolving some Pokemon. Like you do have to have stand there use, I believe, Psychic Psybash or whatever in agile style like 20 times. But they do consume power points. The stuff needed to have a Pokemon attack
they take
at twice the rate.
Exactly.
So if you have 20 and you just do this, the style moves, then you're gonna only have 10 moves.
Yeah, but also too is that you don't immediately have the strong and agile styles right away. Is that you have to have your Pokemon master these moves, which is usually acquired by using the move a lot of times or leveling your Pokemon up, like something of that sort. But you don't get them right away, so like you have to get to a method of acquiring that. And
I think you do have to spend some time with the Pokemon before you have access to those moves.
Like some Pokemon have mastered moves just right away when you catch them, but not all of them too. And also one thing I wanted to mention, speaking of moves, which I really, really freaking like, oh my god, I'm so happy about it. You could change the moves on your Pokemon at any time. Like any moves that it's learned before, you could just switch in the menu. Like you don't have to go to a certain person for it. You don't have to use heart scales or anything. You just drag and drop the moves. You just trade them around. It is so nice, and they need to keep that for Scarlet and Violet and everything else after that. It's so
you don't
cool.
need a move tutor or anything like that. You can choose the moves at any given time. Although they did have like a move tutor in the game that you can learn certain moves for.
Yeah.
They did limit it in the sense that, like, okay, say you're in the field and you used all your attacks and your Pokemon's basically using Struggle, right? And you're like, okay, well, it's fine. I'll just switch Tackle for Wing Attack on Starly and I'll get, have that as a move and keep training Starly.
Listen,
if you do that, you only get like a certain amount of points in that move. You won't get like a full the
Well,
full amount.
yeah, it's not like using ether basically.
Yeah, you'll get 5 out of 20, so that way, so that
Mhm.
you can't basically like, full heal your Pokemon out in the fields. So it encourages you to go back to camp
Mhm.
and rest and then go back to your, adventure and stuff like that. And then also, you can also choose to evolve your Pokemon whenever, as soon as like the conditions are met, the outline of the Pokemon in the menu will be highlighted, and that is the signal that you can evolve. So no longer will Pokemon just evolve straight after battle, which is a
Mhm.
great thing
Yeah,
because
you
sometimes
choose when it evolves.
yeah, sometimes Pokemon, at least their earlier forms, can learn moves at lower levels than like their higher forms.
Mhm.
So if you wanted it to learn, like flamethrower level 40, whatever, before it evolved, you could do that.
Mhm.
And you could choose when to evolve. It doesn't evolve straight after battle.
Exactly. And there's no hold items in this game either. Yeah, there's
Mm-mm.
there's a few things as well. It's like there's no hold items, there's no abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just like they really took it bare bones. They almost brought it back to like let's go almost. Where it's
Mm-hmm.
just as simple of a battle. Like there's other things that they added, but there's some things that they took out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just feels totally different this time around too. Like I feel like I'm not as incentivized to battle anymore just because it's feels weird now.
Right. So the most of the battling in this game is going to be against other Pokemon. It's not going to be against people. There are very few trainer battles against people,
Hmm.
but those are more for like
Yeah,
story
just plot.
aspects, plot. But yeah, before we move on to the next thing, there are like there is another form of battle, which is the battle against noble Pokemon, which
Hmm.
is like the area boss of each of the 5 areas.
Hmm.
And those battles are like extremely unique,
Yeah, totally.
to say the least.
Yeah. So essentially, what the noble battles are like is that it's a two-part kind of system where the first part is you one-on-one, like not with your Pokemon. It's just like you, the character, squaring up against a certain Pokemon, and you have to avoid its attacks. You have to kind of like learn its patterns, and you have to throw these powders at it, like these bags of
Mm-hmm.
powders, to try and tranquilize it. And so once it gets down to a certain point, then you throw your Pokemon out, and then you do like a mini battle until you knock it out, or just lower its health bar essentially. And then you throw more of these powders at it until its health, like overall health, gets to zero. There's
Right.
five noble
5,
Pokemon,
yeah.
yeah, and you encounter them one in each area for like the plot, because basically the noble Pokemon, the Pokemon that watch over the whole area, the Guardians, basically they've become crazed and enraged for a certain reason you'll find throughout the story.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're definitely unique. There's never I can say for certain that all of them are completely different from each other, aside from the mechanic of calming them down.
Yeah.
Just like I feel like I put that in there as we're going through. But yeah, as soon as you encounter the first noble Pokemon, you are introduced to the fact that there will be more areas that we will go through. I believe the next one you go to is the Crimson Marshlands.
Crimson Mylands.
Mirelands,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, it's been a while since I
Yeah.
played the game. I keep forgetting the names.
Yeah.
But yeah, you will travel to the different areas of the Hisui region. The first being the Obsidian Fieldlands, the next one being the Crimson
Mylands.
Mirelands,
Then the
the
Cobalt
next
Coastlands.
Cobalt Coastlands, which is supposed to be Eastern Sinnoh,
Yeah.
and then after that, it's the Alabaster Ice, or
No, that's the
no,
last one.
the
That's
last one,
what is the fourth? It's the Coronet.
Highlands,
Yeah, Coronet Highlands, and then the
Coronet
Alabaster
Highlands,
Islands.
and then the Alabaster Icelands. And you
Hmm.
will make your way through these 5 areas and essentially repeat the same thing of
Hmm.
going through the area, catching all the new Pokemon, encountering the noble Pokemon, and then
Going through the plot.
going through the plot, defeating said noble Pokemon. But what do you think about the areas that they allowed us
I
um
liked
to see?
I liked them all in their own ways. I think my least favorite was the Crimson Myrelands, but
Mm-hmm.
my favorite was probably the Cobalt Coastlands. I don't know. I
Cobalt
always like
Coastlands.
the beach water kind of areas the most. And
Yeah.
yeah, they all had their own unique features about it, which is cool. And traversing through them, there are certain Pokemon that you acquire, which are like ride Pokemon. Think of like Sun and Moon, where you have
Right.
certain Pokemon that you could use to traverse the area. So you have
Mm-hmm.
some Pokemon that'll go faster. You'll have some Pokemon that could help you go through water. You have a
Right.
Pokemon that helps you glide over the area, which I thought was awesome. I thought that they implemented that very, very well.
Right, and I think going over the areas one by one, I think the Obsidian Fieldlands is the most well thought out and most I could feel like that's the most one they put the effort into
I'd have to agree.
because there are like the fast travel points are so perfect for where they're going
Hmm.
as you go through the map. There's like the one at the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end, right?
Hmm.
And then also like just the way it's laid out is perfect for exploring stuff like that. And then you go to the Crimson Mirelands where half the map is closed off to you until you progress the story.
Hmm.
Which, and I could feel like why it's your least favorite area because you have to deal with like the mud, which like slows you down.
Yeah.
Plus, like the color palette of the area is very drab.
Yeah.
It's not as bright. It's not as bright
Yeah, it's all
as the Obsidian
yeah, it's
Fieldlands.
washed out, and like
It's very
especially
washed
when
out. Yeah.
you're slowed in the bog, that
Hmm.
all these Pokemon just immediately go and attack you, and especially if they're like the poison types, which they usually are, like Krogunk and Toxicroak and stuff, that'll
Right.
gradually lower your health even more and more, and it's just frustrating to go through all that. I feel like I'm just gliding over the areas more than anything, or I just avoid the Mirelands if I can.
Right. I could see why the Marylands is your least favorite area.
Yeah.
Then continuing on from there, Cobalt Coastlands, I feel like there's a missed opportunity in terms of the fast travel
Hmm.
because you get your starting area, one to the far right, one to the
Hmm.
far left, but like there's this like like Pride Rock Peak that you can
Yeah.
at the very tip,
Yeah,
which
they
is like
don't put one over there
yeah,
either. Like
they don't put
what?
one over there,
Yeah.
and it's like it's just like such the midpoint of the map, and it's
Hmm.
such a hassle to have to go to the very top left of the map, and then sail your way down to the
I
other
did that
area.
so many times to get shiny Piplup because I'd have to go around that area. It's like
Right,
the summit of the giant rock formation. So I'd have to use
right,
Weird Ear and go all the way over, climb with Sneasler, then glide with Braviary. It was so annoying.
right. I think I flew to the Fire Rock Island, and
Yeah,
then sailed all the way which I believe I don't know because I can't see it in the map. I think that Fire Rock Island is supposed to be the island that eventually forms on the top right of Sinnoh, which has like the battle area, the resort area,
I think I'm sure. I'm sure it is.
because it has the heat ran in there, which leads me
Mm-hmm.
to believe that like like I said, like that'll become Stark Mountain and eventually like the rest of the area around Sinnoh
Mm-hmm. Right. Which
and stuff like that.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure that'll be the area where it is.
Right. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Highland or
Cobalt Coastlands.
Coastlands. I feel like that one had the most diversity in the terms of like Pokemon you could catch because you had access to the water as well as the area around the beaches, and then you had like the washed up ships and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite, just because like the Pokemon that are encountered there. I mean, traversing through it, I thought was fun too. I just like the water-based areas. Maybe that's why I like
Mm,
Ruby and Sapphire so much because of all the water.
all
But
the water.
yeah,
Stay hydrated.
yeah, stay hydrate, homies. Even though I'm literally drinking Monster. uh, yeah, I don't know. I like that one the most.
Mm,
And then going from there was the Coronet Highlands, which was more of your
eh,
rocky terrain, mountainous area. I feel
right.
like that one, there was more intense Pokemon over there. I feel like the strongest, or at least the most intimidating Pokemon were in the Coronet Highlands, like Electivire and
Mm.
things like that, or
I really
Rhyperior,
feel like they should have made a
Steelix.
point of that in this story, like that the Highlands had like it was home to fierce Pokemon,
Hmm.
whereas everywhere else has kind of been like eh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Everything else is just kind of like weaker, relatively speaking, Pokemon.
I mean,
But
I kind of want to say that it's true in the sense that most Pokemon that are in there are very hostile.
hmm,
Like they will
yeah, they
engage in
aggro
battle as soon
quick.
as they aggro onto you really quick. But I really would have appreciated like some story beat that said like like hey, we're going here.
Yeah.
It's great and all, but like you have to be extremely careful because the Pokemon here are the
Hmm.
most fierce that that they can get in
Yeah.
Sinnoh or Hisui.
But also, it wasn't the last area you go to. The Alabaster Icelands were the last, but also the
Mm,
most plot happened in Coronet, at least in terms of like the climax of like Dialga and Palkia and stuff like that.
yeah, the most of the plot happens in the Coronet Highlands, and then from there we do go to the Alabaster Icelands,
Hmm.
which is a pretty large area. I think it might
Yeah.
be the largest of
But it's
all of
also
them
pretty
actually.
vapid as well. Like I like the Icelands, but it's very vapid. There's a lot of like dead space. I feel
There
like.
is. It's a
Yeah.
lot of dead space, and unfortunately, Iceland's is true to its name. It's just blank. It's just
Yeah.
blanket white.
Yeah, and especially if you like that game has such high contrast in that area too. It hurts my eyes when I go through the Icelands.
Right.
But I mean, Ice type is my favorite personally, so I mean, I liked what they did with it, but God, they just need to lower the brightness on the snow a little bit.
Right. And, it's just like real snow. If the sun's out and you're looking at snow,
Yeah.
you're just going to get blasted in the
Exactly.
face.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's one of the most reflective surfaces.
it's one of the most big areas, but it's also just empty. Like I feel like they tried their best to like propagate Pokemon throughout, but there's like long stretches where you just don't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have appreciated more if they added like a couple of like unique areas to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all we could say for the areas. But you saying your favorite is the Cobalt Coastlands?
Yeah, exactly. But I do agree with you that the Obsidian Fieldlands is the most thought out, because like you could tell that there was a lot of diversity in the areas. The places where you fast travel are very thought out, and it's like there's a good diversity of everything that feels natural. Everything about it just felt like this is the quintessential area. But I just like beach areas. That's just my personal preference. But I do think technically that the Obsidian Fieldlands are the best.
Right. I think my favorite probably is Alabaster Icelands in the sense that I enjoyed the Pokemon that were there more.
Right.
So than the other areas.
There's a good spread of Pokemon on the Icelands.
Right, because we had the
Ralts, you had
Hisuian
Zoroa.
Hisuian Zoro, Hisuian, or not Hisuian, Braviary,
yeah.
and yeah,
Glalie,
and all those Glalie,
or Steel,
Spinub,
yeah, Eevee. Oh, I mean Eevee was pretty much in every area. I feel like
Riolu,
yeah, Ghastly, Haunter,
Ghastly and Haunter,
Pachirisu, Machoke, Munchlax was there.
Munchlax, yeah. So I really enjoyed the Pokemon lineup that was there, and then like I said, it's the most big area, so I had the most fun exploring there. That was my favorite area. But if I had to put them in order of best to worst, it would be best to worst in my eyes.
Yeah.
It would be Alabaster Icelands, Cobalt Coastlands, Obsidian Fields, probably Coronet Highlands, and then Crimson Marsh.
Yeah, so I would say for me it'd be the Cobalt Coastlands. Then I would probably say Obsidian Fieldlands, Alabaster Icelands, Coronet, and then Crimson after that. Yeah,
Nice.
Crimson was just lame. I don't know. I didn't care for it at all.
Right, and the problem with Coronet Highlands is you get the feeling that you are climbing a mountain, which I get is what they're going for.
Yeah.
But that's all it is. It's just the slog. It's a one-road slog to the top of the mountain.
It reminds me of the Aggro Crag from Nickelodeon, or that Nickelodeon show. Yeah, it just reminds me of Aggro Crag.
Right, and I get that's what they're going for, but it's just like once you get to the top, I don't think I ever bothered fast traveling to like the beginning. I always just flew down from the top of the mountain.
Yeah, no, I feel that, and that was nice too, especially if you're going to be trying to like traverse your way down and you're looking for the shiny Pokemon, because you could see them from a good distance. Like there's some shiny Pokemon where like I didn't realize that they were there until I saw like a little like flash. I'm like, oh, that's it.
So yeah, moving on to the plot of the game, we'll go ahead and we've dropped a couple of seeds throughout this, but we'll go ahead and start again. Like I said, you are summoned to the world of ancient history, guided by some light. We don't know what that is yet.
It reminds me of the Digimon World 1 for PS1.
Yes, much like that. You're introduced to Professor Laventon, who then introduces you to the galactic. It's not Team Galactic. It's
essentially
Galactic Core.
Yeah,
it's essentially
Team Galactic.
like a team.
Yeah.
And then from there, you're introduced to the Research Corps with your supposed like friend / rival, who is the opposite gender of whoever you picked. Whether that's I don't know what the male one's name is. I just know that the female's name is Akari.
Boy.
Yeah, and so you get paired up with that person. They teach you how to catch Pokemon. And essentially what you do is you just go on regular missions and stuff like that to catch Pokemon until you're introduced to one night, like a bolt of lightning, like a rift opens up above the forest and a bolt of lightning comes through and strikes the forest. And then it is there that you are introduced to the fact that the noble Pokemon is acting up and is threatening the safety of the region. Or well, yeah, you do that at that some point, but you're also
Yeah.
introduced to the other noble Pokemon in the area, which is the ride Pokemon, Weirdeer.
Yeah.
But before we even get to that, you are also introduced to the natives of the Hisui region, which are the two clans, the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, led by their respective leaders, Arena and Adamai.
Yeah, Adaman.
Adaman, and it's clear from the get-go that these two are at each other's throats. They do make references to a huge not I don't want to say war between the clans, but they've basically been at each
Conflict.
other. Conflicts, yeah, they've had conflicts throughout the years.
But they
And
do get together at points when it's beneficial for the whole region.
both parties.
Yeah, when it's beneficial for everybody.
You're introduced to the Galaxy team, and it's a three-way thing between the Diamond Clan, the Pearl Clan, and the Galaxy team. Because even though the Pearl Clan and the Diamond Clan live in specific areas, each of them have like land claim to all 5 of the specific areas. Like the Diamond Clan has a bond with the Weirdeer, whereas the Pearl Clan has a bond with the noble Pokemon of the forest, being the new Pokemon introduced, Cleavor, and that's the one that is acting up. So with I don't think you act with the Diamond Clan on this one. I think it's with the Pearl Clan that you negotiate with to help you calm down the Cleavor.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're introduced to some special characters like they really went all in on like the ancestor aspect of these people. Like the character designs are similar of characters that you've seen before. Not all of them are like were based in the Sinnoh region. Like first one you run in for the Diamond Clan, Marley. That's who it was. So you encounter Mai, who is the ancestor of Marley, and she has the connection with Weirdeer. And then you also introduce Leon, who is the ancestor of Clay, who was obviously a guy in Unova. So they do draw from everywhere in the Pokemon lore to have these people about. Anyway, so you work with Leon and Arena to help calm down Cleavor, and then you guys kind of make that jump in logic. I can't remember if something happened, but like if this can happen to one noble Pokemon, what would happen to the other ones in the different areas? And so Arena's worried about I believe it's Ursaluna in the Crimson Marshlands.
Meyerlands.
And so that Meyerlands, and so you're sent there, and that's like your basic introduction to the Crimson Meyerlands and stuff like that. So then you go there. Same thing happens. Ursaluna's kind of miffed, but it's not the same as Cleavor was.
Yeah.
Ursaluna is kind of miffed, and you get into a small battle with it, but it's for a different reason, and it appears that Ursaluna was lured there by like the scent of some like the flowers or something like that.
Yeah.
Of the new
Hisui and Lilligant.
Hisui and Lilligant, and that's why it was acting up. But as it turns out, it's actually Hisui and Lilligant is the one that's actually afflicted the way Cleavor was. And there's this whole side story with Arezu, who was trying to calm it down herself, who is the ancestor of Commander Mars from Team Galactic. And I really feel like Arezu's character, I feel like they kind of wanted to put more into her character than they did, because they do make her a recurring character in like the hub area, which is
as a beautician.
Yeah, as a beautician in Jubilife Village. So I feel like they probably wanted to do more with her. But anyway, you calm down Hisui and Lilligant, and then from there you are led to the Cobalt Coastlands, which I feel like the story there was a little bit more tugging at the heartstrings with the story behind
the Hisui and Growlithe.
Of Hisui and Growlithe, and what's going on there. You're also introduced to the the Charm sisters, Coin, Clover, and Charm. Yeah, and as it turns out, I believe Coin and Clover are actually runaways from both the Diamond and Pearl clans, but Charm is an immigrant from somewhere. Or like she's like a refugee from somewhere else. Like she wasn't in the Hisui region. The other two were though. Yeah, and she's just was there and took them in as outcasts and stuff like that. But you're just them. They're like the evil like people, because they're like technically bandits, but they never do anything like beyond like petty theft.
Yeah, it's just simple crimes.
Yeah, anything like that. And what do you call it?
Yeah.
So then you go to the Cobalt Coastlands, and there's a story behind the noble Pokemon. They're like, there's no noble Pokemon that can be afflicted, because the noble Pokemon died
Mm-hmm.
trying to save its children
Yeah.
in the ocean, and like that was pretty like, oh damn. And so the whole story in the Cobalt Coastlands is like trying to convince the Pearl Clan representative there, I can't remember her name, to help train the next noble Pokemon, but she doesn't want to because
Yeah.
she feels for the Pokemon
Yeah.
on a level I don't think anybody has displayed yet in the
Yeah.
history region. I mean,
Yeah, like they have compassion for
they have
the Growlithe.
compassion
Yeah.
for it, whereas everybody else is kind of like
You're just a
either
tool
revered
for
them like
us.
the people who guard the noble Pokemon,
Mhm.
or regular people who either distrust or are indifferent.
Also, the Hisuian Growlithe that she's looking over, basically it was their parent, the Arcanine, that was the one that died, and I think it was like they're like traumatized from it. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Basically, like one of the Growlithe like steps up and turns into the noble
Polina, that's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Polina is like like Polina was also going to be the next leader of the Pearl Clan,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't want to, so that fell to Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Polina is actually has like this somewhat love story with the Diamond Clan representative there. It's Ice. If I read it, it says Icecan, but I'm pretty sure it's like Isan or something like that.
Yeah.
And Isan was actually the one that helped Polina out of the water from trying to save the Growlithe that was drowning.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, like you said, the Growlithe ends up stepping up at the moment because the Charm Sisters were trying to kidnap the wrong Growlithe,
Yeah.
and the real one steps up and becomes it
noble.
evolves.
Yeah, it
The noble,
evolves.
though, after it evolves, it does get struck by the lightning and becomes frenzied,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there you have to do the noble battle, which I actually think
was
is
probably the most difficult, in my
probably
opinion.
well.
At least out of the 5.
Out of the 5, yeah, it's probably the most difficult because it is on a volcano and in a lava area,
You're in limited
and
space.
there's limited space, and the Growlithe does make maximum effort to like trap you in or the Arcanine makes a lot of effort to trap you in an area that you really can't dodge it.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to pretty much be just like throwing the powder at it at all times.
Yeah, you do that, and then you obviously move on from there to the next
Coronet
area,
Highlands.
Coronet Highlands, which the Pearl Clan representative there is a surprise one.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't see that coming, but it is definitely like as a hint, as like, hey, we remember Gen 5 is a thing, and Gen 5 remakes may be coming out because the Pearl Warden in the Coronet Highlands is Ingo from the Battle Subway.
Yeah, he somehow got transported too, like from modern day Unova.
From modern day Unova, and it's definitely from modern day Unova because he has his subway outfit, and he makes references to the Battle Subway. And so, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Or maybe they're doing Black and White 3. Who knows? and they'll have that because they'll be like, oh, Ingo just disappeared one day. Because he does have a brother, Emmett, and I don't know how Emmett's gonna react to his brother disappearing.
Yeah, maybe that's setting up for the Black and White remakes.
Maybe it's setting up Black and White 3. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, here,
Black and White
first.
3.
Mark my words.
But yeah, they introduce Ingo, and he gives you access to Sneasler, which is like the rock climbing Pokemon. And then you're introduced to the worst Warden, probably. I'd say is like the worst character in this entire game, just because they wrote him to be bad, which is Melly, the Diamond Clan representative, the guy with the purple hair.
Oh yeah, that son of a bitch.
Yeah, because he's always like second questioning Adaman and talking about how he should have led the clan and all this kind of stuff. And
he has a lot of
ultimately,
rat-like tendencies.
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to set up like some conflict here, but he's just a douche.
He's an arrogant douchebag. That's all I can think of him as. He's probably one of the worst characters.
That's how he came off, and unfortunately, he's the warden of Hisuian Electrode. And he thinks that he can calm it down and that you're not needed and stuff like that. But ultimately, you are
obviously needed. Yeah,
you're the one that has to do it and calm him down. And the Electrode fight was actually pretty fun too.
Yeah, I liked that one.
I definitely thought it was a lot harder than Cleavor and the Lilligant.
Lilligant was a joke. Sure. That was stupid easy.
Yeah, those two were pretty easy. The Arcanine one was pretty rough. The Electrode one is also pretty tough because there's like only so many chances to throw the powder at it while you're just getting bombarded with like electrodes dropping from a tree.
Exactly.
Because that's the gimmick. The Hisuian electrodes, like they're like pretending to be apricorns, but they still have like the tendency to explode.
Yeah, grass
and
electric
stuff like
type.
that. Yeah, so that was cool. And then obviously you do that, and then you move on to the Alabaster Icelands to calm down a Hisuian Avalugg.
Right. Yeah, the Alabaster Icelands is for Avalugg.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't like at this point a lot of people are like, "Oh, you are the guy to calm down like the Pokemon." So it's not even like, "Oh, maybe we should check on the Avalugg." It's just, "Hey, go to the Alabaster Icelands because I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to do your
Yeah, it's
thing."
just like just take care of it. Do
Yeah,
do
like
your
just take
job.
care of it.
Yeah.
Right, and so you go over there and you're introduced to the two wardens there. The first one being Garrick, who's the ancestor of Wulfric. And at first, he's not even like he's not as douchey as Melly was. He's kind of just like, "Hey, I know what you're here for. I just don't think that you're up to snuff for it. And if you want to prove that you are, climb to the top of this rock." And it's it's like solid ice. For whatever reason, Sneasler can't climb up it.
Yeah.
And so, so you have to go to the other warden, Sabby, who's the ancestor of Cheryl, who's this little girl who has a connection with. I think she's actually psychic too.
Yeah.
Which is
Probably makes
interesting
sense with the Braviary.
Yeah, which makes sense with the Braviary, but is also like really really unique for the Pokemon world because I think the only like confirmed psychics are Sabrina and Annabelle and Sabby.
Right.
And so Sabby is the one that lets you have, not lets you have, but lets you take a test.
Yeah, take a test to prove your worth.
Yeah, and that test you have to go through this. At least you have to climb to the top of Snowpoint Temple, which exists in the game. And as you do that, they do hint that at one point in time there was another clan. I think it was a combination of the Diamond and the Pearl clans. Because when you're in the Coronet Highlands, you see like all these structures built, and they talk about how like well, if we're an ancient Sinnoh, who the hell and the Diamond and Pearl clan didn't build these, then who the hell built them?
Yeah.
So you're led to believe that at one point in time they were either one clan, and then they split, or there was another clan.
Right.
That built and shrines.
Platinum
and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, the Platinum clan, Legends of Arceus 2, baby.
Pray.
We're going even further back.
Let's go.
And anyway, so then you climb to the ice rock and you're able to see out. And Garrick is like, "All right, cool. You're down to fight Hisuian Avalugg," which is another like tough fight because
it was pretty brutal.
It's like wave after wave of attacks. Plus, I think it also like the distance to throw the bags. You have to be like at the very edge of the thing to throw them. Right. And so anyway, you then you calm the noble Pokemon throughout the region. It's all done, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody celebrates. They're like, we did it. There are no noble Pokemon to calm down anymore.
But things get worse.
Things get worse. So throughout this whole time, there's been like this kind of like ominous cloud / like somewhat rift above Mount Coronet. And people are like, "Oh, like I wonder what's going on with the Almighty Sinnoh," because that's what they refer to the mountain as, is Almighty Sinnoh. And it's never like on the forefront of anybody's mind. I mean, people make reference to it, but it's never like a huge problem. It becomes a problem when the sky like starts turning red and the rift like visibly gets bigger.
Yeah. And Kamado presumes that you are at fault for all of it and exiles you straight up.
Right, yeah. So the people get obviously freaked out.
Yeah.
And you being the outsider and the ominous way that you came in, and you calming down your actions throughout the story of calming down all these Pokemon, while it was beneficial for everybody because these Pokemon aren't attacking people or messing up the land anymore. You still are like the outlier in terms of like all the stuff that's going on. So Kamado is led to believe that maybe it is you that has done this. So you are exiled from the from the Galaxy team and from the village in general. And so it is really sad. Like you're just kicked out.
Yeah. And it's like a sad walk to leave as well.
Yeah, it's a sad walk. It's like the freaking Game of Thrones with like shame.
Yeah.
As like like I feel like if the people start throwing stuff at you, it wouldn't be too far fetched.
Right.
And so you're exiled from the city, and you just go out into the obsidian fieldlands
Mm-hmm.
what was it, Ginkgo, right? The Ginkgo Guild. What's his
Yeah.
name? It's not Ginkgo though.
Um.
Volo.
Yeah.
Volo comes
Volo's like,
out.
I support you,
Yeah.
homie.
Volo's like, don't worry, homie, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that introduces you to Kojita and her little like tent out in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, if you want to like clear your like, we don't think you're like the problem, but if you want to look into it, I think the problem, the source of the problem might be at the peak of Mount Coronet.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to go out and get your things together and like get some stuff and get ready to go. And also Kamado at this point has realized, well, if the problem's on Mount Coronet, we got to go to Mount Coronet. So he gears up for battle, which is pretty funny.
Like straight up full on samurai armor.
Like straight up full on armor. And it is kind of hinted at that like they got chased out of their wherever they originally came from by Pokemon or whatever happened there. So Kamado is like, I'm not gonna
do this again.
We've built up so much here. I'm not gonna get kicked out of from here again. So that's why his motivations are what they are, and he's like, legit ready to fucking fight you.
Yeah, he's ready to die, basically.
Yeah, he's ready to fight you to the death to preserve, what they've built here.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you go to the top of Mount Coronet. You also fight the chef, who's like Wally's ancestor, who's like a straight up ninja.
Yeah.
Straight
it's
up,
one of Kamado's lackeys.
Beni, straight up Kakashi looking ass with his fucking mask.
Yeah.
Is the guy that gets there, and he's all like, oh, maybe things will work out for the better because you do beat. Well, obviously you beat him.
Yeah.
You have to, and then from there you face Kamado, who's kind of like, he's like kind of like remorseful of the situation. He's like, like you were doing so well and stuff like that, but he kind of reiterates that point, like we've already been chased away from our previous living area, and I can't have that happen again. And so Kamado throws down with you, and you beat Kamado, and he kind of is just like, reflective of it. He's like, maybe I acted too harsh, or maybe I reacted too quick, but whatever it is, we'll face it together. So you guys then proceed to go to the temple that is on the top of Mount Coronet, and then out from the rift, depending on who you decided to
team with.
Yeah, because the leaders of the respective clans, both Adamai and Arena, come. They're like, you know what? Because you've been kicked out of Jubilee Village. They're like, like we'll take you in and stuff like that. And so depending on who you decide to team up with, like who you want to hang out with. Obviously, I chose Arena.
Yeah, I chose Adaman just to keep it different.
Just to keep it different, yeah. I chose Arena because I'm a simp, and I went with Arena, and she's there throughout with you, like going through the different areas and stuff like that, trying to like look for what could happen. So you're going through the different areas, talking to the wardens, like, hey, what's this? What's up with this? What's up with that? Before you eventually go to Mount Coronet. And anyway, that is a choice that picks which of the two legendaries pop out to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you got to go through the whole battle against them, like directly.
So yeah,
like,
you do have to battle, much like in Gen 4, the box legendary of either Dialga or Palkia.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and so you battle them in their normal state, but after you go through
after you battle and capture them, because I think each of the clan leaders has like a link with them. I don't think they're psychic, but I think they're like trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
And they're telling you this plea, like, hey, the other Pokemon is coming, and I need your help to defeat it.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I need to test your strength. So then you catch it, and then from the rift a second time is the reverse one, but in its origin form.
Mm-hmm. Which is a new thing for this game, is that it has a different form, kind of like the origin form from ORAS for
right, and we'll get yeah. So I'll go ahead and make a little note here. Dialga, it's whatever. Palkia is a fucking abomination.
Yeah. Origin Day.
I don't know what they were.
Origin
thinking.
Palkia is so ugly. Oh my god! It's like some it's like some bastardized centaur.
Right, it's a centaur with no arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's why I chose Arena, so that way I could get Palkia, and I wouldn't have to see the ugly, disgusting Origin Palkia.
Mhm. But you do get access to it later on. Just
you do get access to its form via the lustrous
but
orb,
would you
or
want
the
to?
yeah, not that you'd want to,
Yeah.
or the adamant orb.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because obviously Giratina had its different form, so obviously the other two had to get forms as well. I don't know what they were thinking putting those designs through. I mean, like I said, Dialga's fine, but I really want them to like release the files of like what were the different form suggestions.
Yeah.
Because I am pretty sure there are better suggestions than what came out.
Yeah, it was questionable at first when I saw Dialga, and then when I saw Palkia, I just died a little bit inside from how
Right, because
ugly
you
it
have
was.
Giratina in its
Yeah.
altered form with the six legs, and then you have its origin form with like no legs and like
And like
the
more of
ghost
like
wings.
phantom like.
Yeah, and then you get Dog and Palkia, whatever, and then like just
Yeah, it's
a big
it
misstep
shows
for me.
it shows that the original designers of Dialga and Palkia did not make the origin forms right there. At least to me, it looks like it. Like the art forms look totally different.
Huge misstep for me, and I'm hoping you guys have like if you're just listening to the podcast, I'm hoping you pulled out your phone, and Alex is gonna insert like the image of what they look like, so you could just look at it and be like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'll put the images up on here.
Right, and so you fight that, and then you're like you beat it, and then from there I believe like the sky calms down, and you're like,
Finally.
oh we've saved the day, hooray, huzzah.
Yeah.
And you catch it. Or no, you
like
don't beat it.
They make you catch it with the origin ball.
With the origin ball, which you do have to go out and like mine for a specific orb. Yeah, and then you catch it with the origin ball.
Exactly.
Sorry, we jumped ahead there.
Yeah.
But then yes, you save the day and whatnot.
But your journey's not over yet.
And you're accepted back into Jubilife Village, which sucks because I really wanted to sign up with the Pearl Clan.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You are accepted back into the village, but your journey isn't over yet, as they say. You do get a message in the very beginning of the game that says, go out and collect all the Pokemon in the region. And when it says all the Pokemon in the region, it means all the Pokemon in the region.
Yeah, basically the Arc phone that we mentioned way earlier in this podcast is it's basically a cell phone that's just a link to you and Arceus, aka God. You're just getting DMs
aka God.
Yeah, you're getting DMs from God the whole time, like what you do and where you at, like kind of stuff.
Hey God, about to go to the club, get fucked up,
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so they talk about going to see all the Pokemon. And Professor Lavington kind of clues you into like, oh, there are also like they do give you like missions for the specific legendary Pokemon that you are missing. I don't think the Darkrai and Shaman are counted towards all the Pokemon.
They're not, but you get those, or you would have been able to get them via having the files of Sword and Shield and BDSP. So, like, when they recognize the save files in Arceus, then you get the option to do those missions, which aren't crucial to completing the Pokedex, but it's definitely
but better. most legendary Pokemon do have a mission to go and find them.
Yeah.
Like with the
with Heatran,
Regigigas, Manaphy, Cresselia, Fion, and then as well as the Genie trio, Landorus, Tornadus, Thundurus.
And there's also a brand new one too.
Yeah, the new one they introduced, which is a fairy flying type, Enamorus, which its regular form, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. It's Therian form more.
Yeah, I like the Therian form quite a bit, actually, for that one.
And I get what they're trying to do. It's like the 4 sacred beasts. I think it's like a Japanese mythology thing, like the dragon, the phoenix, the chimera, and what was the other one?
Like a
Phoenix, chimera. They definitely made it. I only remember it because it was in Beyblades. Like each of the 4 guys had the tiger.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Each one of the guys had like the thing, and that's supposed to be like a Japanese myth thing. Anyway, that completes that trio, or that quad whatever. But anyway, you finished catching all the legendary Pokemon, including Giratina, which leads us to the next side story, because Volo kind of leads you on to going back to it's like, oh, when you catch all the Pokemon, like maybe try going to Mount Coronet. And so you do everything there, and you catch all the Pokemon, and you go to Mount Coronet, and nothing happens. And that's when Volo kind of reveals himself to be the one to. He's like, oh well, obviously you didn't get to catch all the Pokemon because you're missing one, right?
Mhm.
And that's when he, throws off his garb and has his stupid Arceus hair,
Yeah. He's
and
like,
he's
you have.
all,
I am the last one. Ugh.
yeah, and he's kind of like, I was the one that pissed off, Palkia or Dialga, whichever one, the opposite of one you chose,
Mhm.
with Giratina, and like him and Giratina teamed up to cause all this mayhem because he has an obsession with seeing
With
Arceus,
seeing God.
with seeing God, right? Like a
Mhm.
true holy man.
Yeah.
Has an obsession with finding God, and so he fights you. And my God, did they took the Cynthia fight
Mhm.
and they just like made it even harder.
Yeah, it was fucking brutal. It was a
Because
very,
not
very
only do
brutal
you have to
fight.
fight Volo in a full 6-on-6 battle, or was
Yeah.
Giratina part of his team?
I think I can't remember. I'll put an addendum on the screen.
Yeah, so either I can't remember. Either you fight his full 6-on-6 team plus Giratina, or you fight his. Either way, you fight through his team, then you fight Giratina,
Mhm.
and then you think the fight's over, right?
Nope.
No, because the son of the bitch turns into his goddamn origin form, and then you have to fight him again.
Yeah.
No healing, no, and no healing in between. So basically, you essentially fight like 3 back-to-back battles.
Yeah, it is a gauntlet. And like
Yeah.
nothing prepares you for it. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna continue the plot, but no, it's like you gotta be ready.
Right. I was just like, oh, okay, beat him, whatever. Oh, I'm fighting Giratina. All right, whatever. Oh, I didn't get to heal. That's fine. It's just 2 battles in a row. Nope. Fuck you. 3 battles in a row.
Yeah.
You had 2 Pokemon left. Eat shit and die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it was a mother and a half, that's for sure.
So anyway, you beat it, and then Giratina, fucks off because
Yeah.
it's like, holy shit, like
Mhm.
it just got beat back to back to back.
Yeah.
I think you do fight a full 6-on-6 battle, then Giratina, then
Mhm.
Giratina in its origin form. I believe
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Volo's just like, well, I guess I'm just not worthy enough to meet God, and I,
Mhm.
I throw myself on your judgment,
Mhm.
and you're just like, get the fuck out of here. And
Yeah.
he's like, really, like I will try this again, and you kind of just left on that ominous note.
Yeah.
That he's like, I'll do something again, right?
But it's not over yet because you
Yeah.
still have to fight God.
All right, you still gotta go. Well, no, you still
Yeah,
gotta
you
go catch
gotta
Giratina,
Yeah, you gotta get Giratina. And
which his bitch ass flew off to, what was it, the Cobalt Coastlands, but I
yeah.
can't remember the area. Oh,
Yeah,
the
it's like
something spring.
yeah, it's
Forgotten
like there's
Spring
just
or something like that.
a just a certain like cave that he falls into, and then you just gotta go and find the King of Darkness over there and just catch
Right.
him.
And then
Yeah.
also forgot about the pixies. You have to
Mhm.
catch those.
Yeah, Azel, Fuxi, and Masquerade, which are part of like the end plot of the main series or the main
Right.
story.
You catch those. And
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
with all those caught, with all the legendaries in Sinnoh, because apparently Sinnoh is full of fucking legendaries.
Yeah, and
Then
completing the
go back.
Pokedex entry. Or no, you don't have
You
to
then
complete the Pokedex. It's just catching everything.
you then go to the top of Mount Coronet, and your Arc phone starts to glow and changes into the Azure Flute.
Mm-hmm.
And then you play the Azure Flute, and then the Stairway to Heaven, baby, is open.
Then God
And
shows up.
yeah, you literally climb the staircase and are in the fucking stratosphere where you shouldn't be able to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
and then God shows up.
Yep, and that battle sucks.
Right.
It is so difficult.
Yeah,
But-
that battle is definitely the most hard. I would say is the hardest of all of them. I
Mhm.
believe I did fail like multiple times on that one.
I failed a couple
and I
times.
think they know how hard it was because they do have like checkpoints that you could skip to
Thank God
Yes.
they did too.
instead of starting the entire battle over.
But also, if you go back and rebattle it and you take no damage, then you get like really, really cool perks, I guess.
Hmm.
But
I don't know. I didn't
yeah.
try it.
But also, Arceus has like a special plate that allows it to change its typing to whatever it feels like. So if you put out like a Typhlosion, for example, it'll change its typing to water, so it could be automatically super effective against you. So you got to strategize around that.
Right. So yeah, it just straight up is like a super hard fight, like extremely hard. But at the end of the day, you're able to catch it, and when
Yeah.
you do, you truly completed the game. And I believe you go back to Jubilife City, and then you just hand it over, and there's a little scene where everybody's just like, "Holy crap!" Like we've actually done it. The Pokedex is complete.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like super over the top ceremony like it was when you finished the game, because I believe
Yeah.
like there's like this little ending slide that's like a painted drawing of everybody celebrating, which I was sad because that like it goes away so quick. I felt like that should have stayed on the screen for like at least a minute because it had like every character doing something on that screen.
Yeah.
And I you know, you got to find a picture of it to post it because it's like I thought it was very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Very
I
nice
agree.
touch.
It was a nice thing to end it with, but
Yeah, once you complete the Pokedex, there's no like super like
it's not like a big ceremony where like
it's not a big
everybody's like
ceremony.
smoking
It's like a couple
smoking
people.
weed and like
Yeah,
yeah.
and then they just talk about it and like
Yeah.
you were given the shiny charm and stuff like that.
And then that's
But
where it
yeah,
gets fun. No,
and that's where you know the true
game starts.
True game starts. But
No.
yeah, that is the plot. What would you like? I said we talked about it in the beginning. Like you know this plot reaches for you know the reigns of like Gen 5. But what are your thoughts overall on it?
I mean, I like the plot. I mean, yeah, it did get like rinse and repeat, but I mean, what game doesn't at this point? Like, especially when there's like when it's a Pokemon game. So, I mean, for what it's worth, as kind of expected. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it personally, but you kind of got worn out from it after a while. You're just like, okay, let's get to all the like the really nitty gritty on it. I don't want to just do the like go to a new area. Here's ride Pokemon, battle the noble. I just like I don't know. I feel like some variety would have been in order, but I definitely didn't dislike it. That's for sure. What did you feel about it before I give my rating?
I enjoyed it a lot too. I really felt like there's definitely like a tonal shift from the warden Pokemon to you know you like finding the noble Pokemon, carrying them. I feel like there's a tonal shift from that to like straight up getting kicked out of the village that happened a little too quick.
Yeah, very drastic.
I feel like if there was a little bit more build up there, it would be a little bit more believable. But I do feel like the highs of this game are definitely like at the end of fighting, you know, the origin Palkia or Dialga, and then as well as fighting Volo and Giratina, and then you know obviously Arceus. I feel like the highs are like you know are there, but there's a lot of like lows in the just like the monotonous grinding of going through the areas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really felt like they tried to introduce some like character development in those areas so that you tried to care like Arezu and the thing between Polina and what was it Isan and I feel like those two areas had it, but you know Obsidian Fieldlands and Coordinate Highlands and Alabaster Icelands kind of just like didn't have it, or if they tried it just fell short.
Yeah,
I really feel like if they had done more character development with the wardens, with the area, and you know the fighting between the Diamond and the Pearl clan, I really feel like they should have fleshed out more character stuff and made you care more about the village. Because one thing we didn't talk about the village is that as you do more missions and more requests, the village does begin to change. You do see more buildings built, and you do see more stuff around the village get like renovated and stuff like that. So there is that progression of like the village of getting better. I do feel like that should have been like a cutscene. Like if you completed a mission, they're like, oh, hey, we're building this new section of housing to house more people coming in, or hey, we have representatives from the Diamond and Pearl clan living here, and those houses could be different and stuff like that. And you know, I feel like there was a lot of. I feel like most of the effort of this game went into like the mechanics of like catching Pokemon, the Pokemon showing up, the Pokemon being shiny, the battling stuff. I feel like most of the effort was in the mechanics, and I don't know like what the story department looks like at Game Freak HQ, but I feel like they're not giving them their time to shine, or they're like getting very few funding, or they just don't care.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be the latter. I think they don't care enough to really fully flesh out a character. It's not like we're watching like Breaking Bad over here where everybody has an arc and everybody has like every little thing is important. It's a Pokemon game, it's a kid game at the end of the day, so they're not going to care all too much. Although I did like what they did with the arc of Komodo. I feel like that they could have added something like that more to the other characters. I mean, me personally, I want to see more of that kind of stuff, but I like the drama.
For me, it's like we live in this age where there are great stories to tell, and you know there are people with talent to tell those stories, and you know using the excuse of it's a kids game is just like a cop out. Like you can't. There are people like who have written kids shows who do write interesting and compelling stuff. Like you know, Adventure Time is a prime example. It challenges
or Last
like
Airbender.
Or Last Airbender. It challenges like dark and like you know difficult things in a way that children can understand and you know and do stuff.
Maybe they just stopped caring because it got so much funding and money.
Right.
Maybe they're just like
Stuff
we could put it out and nobody like it doesn't matter. We're still gonna make money on it. So where's the integrity?
Stuff like Rugrats dealing with divorced parents or parents dying and stuff like that. It has been done and can be done. And like I said, I feel like there was some effort because the highs of this game are pretty goddamn high. With you getting kicked out of the village, and then you clearing your own name, and then dealing with Volo and his obsession with finding God, finding God.
Same.
And then your battle against Arceus. So I feel like there is room for growth here, which imagine it could, the work we did get it. I'd feel a lot more for this game and the characters than I did, but yeah, story-wise, I appreciate the Pokedex journey of completing it. I appreciate the story for what it is. It's definitely trying to reach for. It's definitely better than what we've been getting so far, and I hope the stories continue to get better.
Yeah.
There's only a hope, but I really just hope that is. But overall for the story, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like 5 is an average for me. I feel like this story does well. And I'm already trying to roll back to a 7, but I'll just say it as an 8 out of 10. It does well.
I was saying around that. I was thinking around that. I was thinking like 7.5 to 8. It's just like there are parts that do get really redundant, and that's really the things that like just dock the points, I guess, or like they maybe could have delved more into like character arcs and development of that. But it definitely wasn't a bad story by any means. I enjoyed it, but I feel like that there's definitely room for improvement. So that's why I kind of omitted those like 2.5 points roughly.
Right. There's definitely room for improvement, and unfortunately, I don't think this game's getting any more like DLC. We got like the Sunbreak DLC or whatever it was,
which
or
added
not Sunbreak.
More like just like stuff in the.
It didn't add tons of stuff. It just added like a new mechanic, which we'll get into later. But I don't think we're getting like any other DLC for this game because obviously we have Scarlet and Violet on the horizon, and if we were getting anything, I think they would have said something by now.
Yeah. Exactly, because we're roughly about 6 months out from Scarlet and Violet. Maybe they'll have one thing just all of a sudden. They'll just be like, "Hey, there's a new update."
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm thinking that they might have one more up their sleeve, just one.
One.
Yeah.
But moving on, we have the new characters and new Pokemon. Obviously, we've been talking about the Wardens and the Arena and Adam and Kamado and the rest of the village, the characters from the village. But yeah, I feel like this one follows that like whoever the character design department really from Sword and Shield has been here again, and every like character that is in this game is very distinct from the other, and I feel like they followed the Sword and Shield thing and made each character distinct and cool, and even if you can't remember their name, you remember what they look like.
Exactly. It's like I feel like that it kind of that they probably saw the positive response that people had to Hop, and so they just wanted to have that kind of like drama to the characters, and they added it to other people in here, which I think works for them. I think that having that works really well, and that I actually care about these characters instead of them just being a random NPC.
Right.
Like I want to care more.
We've only seen the character models for Scarlet and Violet, which they're like because they're like in school uniforms.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping the rest of the characters of that game is like the same character design department, and Scarlet and Violet comes out and like all the characters in there are like very distinct and unique, because I like I said, Sword and Shield did it great, Arceus did it great, and I really want to see that continue. I really want to see whoever is doing it or the department doing it be rewarded for their effort and be acknowledged and stuff like that.
I agree. Yeah, no, having something like that will definitely help.
Who's your favorite new character?
My favorite new character? It'd probably I would probably have to say either Volo or Kamado. Maybe just because of the reason that I mentioned before, where like they actually have stuff going on with them, is that there's actual like development of the characters. Either that or the Potato Mochi guy. Like that guy was kind of cool.
The ninja.
Yeah. No, that was cool because I mean, shout out to potatoes.
Right.
No, what about you?
Yeah. For me, it's probably Arena and Adam. Was it Adam?
Adaman.
Adaman, yeah. Adaman and Arena are pretty cool. But yeah, like if I'd have to give you a list, you definitely notice like some similarities, because it'd be all just like the female character designs. Because at least for the males, there weren't like any like none of them have like it goes back to the story aspect. None of them have like super like great stories. I love the characters in this game, man. I love the way the character design has gone.
Yeah.
For me, that's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't change a goddamn thing.
Yeah, it was great. I'd probably have to give it like an 8 or a 9. Like the
Like
characters are great.
if the story department and the character design department could just get together and like gang up and beat the shit out of the game designers,
Mm-hmm.
I would love it.
Yeah.
If they could just like have like some civil war at Game Freak HQ and the game designers get put under the heel and they're all like, yeah, now it's our time. I think we could get a great Pokemon game.
That was the age of the orc.
Right? Yeah, the age of the orc is over. Long live the Urukai.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
moving on from that,
New
new Pokemon. Hisuian Typhlosion, garbage. Hisuian Decidueye, Hisuian Samurott. Did it even goddamn change?
It didn't change. It didn't change.
Did it even goddamn change
It got
for the starters?
spikier.
That's my straight up opinion on
Yeah.
the starters.
I kind of have to agree. I have to agree. I mean, I love Typhlosion, don't get me wrong, but Hisuian Typhlosion it's fine. It just gets awkward little like Julius Caesar sideburns. Samurott is
It also
nothing
suffers
different.
from this. It also suffers from the same problems regular Typhlosion has in the sense that it does like the flames don't come out. The flames
Until
only come
the
out when it
battle.
attacks.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is annoying. Like, I want the flames out at all times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Imagine if like
And
Charizard didn't have its flames on his tail until it
Yeah.
battles. Like that would be so
Right.
stupid.
So dumb. Weirdeer, okay, whatever.
it's
Don't
okay.
really think it
It's
fits
okay.
as both a male and female Pokemon.
Cleavor was great.
Awesome. Love
Awesome.
it.
Loved Cleavor.
Ursaluna, didn't know I wanted it.
It is okay.
Didn't know I wanted it. I
That's
enjoyed
fine.
it. Asky Legion, pretty goddamn cool.
Yep,
At least the
I
red
like it.
one.
His-
Blue one, Sneasler,
Ugh. God, Hisuian Sneasler is so terrible. God, I hate it. It looks it looks so gross. It's just like
I think it's more
Yeah.
it being it's like the Uncanny Valley thing where they try to like anthropomorphize like animals.
yeah. Like
I
they just like
don't know.
stretch it out like a Gumby or a Stretch Armstrong or
Right.
something like that.
Overquill,
Eh,
it
It's
doesn't really
boring.
matter to me.
boring.
Enamorous, like I said, I don't care
Therian's
if it's
better
regular
than
form.
regular.
Therian's better than regular.
Yeah.
Moving on to Hisuian forms, Growlithe, love it. Arcanine, I could live
It was
with it.
fine. It didn't really do much.
Voltorb and Electrode, I love
Love it.
Voltorb. Electrode, could take it or
Electrode
leave
is
it.
kind of exactly.
That's the same with like the regular form. I could take it or leave it with the regular forms.
Mm-hmm.
We already went over Typhlosion.
Yeah.
Hisuian Quillfish, really cool color palette. I enjoy it a lot.
It did nothing to me compared to regular Quillfish. It's the exact same.
I mean, it's regular Quillfish, but with a color
yeah.
swap.
Yeah, exactly.
Hisuian Sneasel, I love the color swap.
I
It's
like
the same
it.
thing.
Mhm.
I love the color swap. I like the typing.
Yeah.
Sneasel, like I said, could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I really wish it was just Weavile
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
the color swap, but whatever.
Yeah.
Samurott, we already talked about. Lilligant, it just loses the dress.
I just like regular Lilligant in the first place. Hisuian Lilligant's fine, but I like regular Lilligant way better.
I'm like torn as to why they have like this ballerina / Peter Pan thing going on here. I really feel like they should have just leaned into either
Yeah.
the more the ballerina than the Peter
Yeah,
Pan.
maybe
thing.
like Grass
'Cause
Fairy.
it's-
Like,
it's
is
literally
it now,
got Peter
isn't
Pan.
it now Grass Fairy?
It's grass fighting.
No. The regular Lilligant. Is it Grass Fairy now, or is it still?
I think it's
pure
just
grass?
pure grass.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like a Grass Fairy, like if they really delved in like Mega Gardevoir with a dress, then that'd be kind of cool. But
Hisuian Zoro and Zork, love it.
yeah, love
Love it.
those. Those are
Love the
probably
shiny
some,
forms,
Those
too.
are some of my favorites.
Legit was the first shiny I wanted to get in this game.
I think that was one of
Hisuian-
the first shinies I got. I think-
Hisuian Braviary, same thing.
Great.
Love it.
Big
Love
brain.
it shiny. I hate the fact that Hisuian, what's it called? Or what is it?
That Rufflet.
Rufflet.
Rufflet didn't
It doesn't
get
have a form.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with Sliggoo and Gudra.
Uh-huh.
Really, they're
I
whatever.
didn't care for Sliggoo or Scudra.
I mean, neither. I feel like it's not different enough from its regular form
Yeah.
to,
It just looks
even be-
depressed.
Avila could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And then, we already talked about the starters. And
Mhm.
then, obviously, the origin forms of Dialga, it's whatever, but Palkia is an abomination.
Palkia is way worse, but Dialga's not really that good either.
It's not great. I could
Yeah.
take it, like I said, I could take it or leave it, but
Yeah.
Palkia is just an abomination.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, worse than almost anything
Terrible.
else.
Absolutely disgusting.
Gusgulston.
But from there, they also one of the other points we're gonna blow through these right here. One of the other points was the alpha Pokemon.
Yeah.
which I feel like was misused in the game. I feel like because they're supposed to be like alpha Pokemon or like the boss Pokemon of like a mini boss
Mhm.
essentially. People took that in a different way and they were just like,
Mhm.
oh, like I just want to get an alpha Pokemon to say I have one,
Mhm.
and it's different from
Yeah.
regular Pokemon.
It's essentially
Obviously, they have
yeah.
like increased stats and increased size, which is great
Mhm.
because you actually can see like the size
Yeah.
difference of an alpha Pokemon
And
compared
their
to a regular
likeliness
one.
to find one is hard to find. So it's like people would because finding shiny Pokemon is very easy in this game, but finding a
Mhm.
shiny alpha Pokemon is difficult.
Is difficult because it's a random chance of it
Yeah.
being an alpha and shiny.
It's a very, very
So
low odds.
it's very, very low
Do you
odds. But
have any
yeah, alpha
shiny
Pokemon,
alphas?
no. But
I
alpha
have
Pokemon really,
Rhyperior and Kadabra.
but yeah, alpha Pokemon didn't really serve like as huge of a point as I think they wanted it
Hmm.
to. I mean, granted, I did end up using a team of full alpha Pokemon,
Hmm.
but I never really felt like, they were that different from regular Pokemon, essentially
Exactly.
from the size.
Exactly. You didn't really need it, but it needed to be cool if you had one.
All right.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talk about shiny Pokemon. Like I
Hmm.
said, if you get the Pokedex research to 10 and the shiny charm, and then you do the outbreaks, shiny Pokemon are just like rain down upon you.
Exactly. I have so many of them, and I think everybody else kind of is the same way, where you have way too many, and you could fill up that shiny deck super quick.
Right, and then we'll go into the outbreaks real quick, where at least in the base before they did the update,
Hmm.
the base game they basically had it where like you'd go to the village and then shoot. When you leave the village, you get to choose which of the 5 areas you get to go to,
Hmm.
and then with there it would show an icon of what outbreak of Pokemon was there,
Yeah, like a
and then you'd
swarm.
go there. Yeah, like a swarm. You go there, you save, you would encounter the swarm because it's a pre-generated what they're gonna
Like
what
what the
their
spread
shiny
is going to be, and like
yeah, what the
likelihood of
shiny odds are going to be before you
yeah.
get there. And if you encounter the shiny Pokemon and you'd missed it, you just reload your save.
Hmm.
Or if you didn't find one, you'd revert your save, go back to the village, go back to the area. If it was the same horde, check it again, save. If it was not there, just do that.
Hmm.
Rinse and repeat, which I
Exactly.
really felt was great. Then
Hmm.
they introduced the update, which then came out with massive mass outbreaks, which I
Hmm.
haven't had much experience with. But
I have.
I was gonna say, just spitballing here. It literally, well, then if you do go ahead and talk about it, because from my understanding, it's literally the same thing, but you're checking each of the different spots for the massive outbreak.
Yeah. So essentially, what's different with the massive mouse outbreaks is that the regular outbreaks are specified to one certain Pokemon, but with massive
Hmm.
mouse outbreaks, there's like 10 or so odd different outbreaks that are in one area at a time. And so you could go to each one because it doesn't tell you what the Pokemon that are out in the massive outbreaks are until you get to their area, and then it's like, oh, you found the outbreak, and then it would update it on your map. Or you could go to there's a certain character over there with a Munchlax, and you give it 5 berries, which they introduced with the update, and then that would show you every Pokemon that's there like immediately. So now there's like a strategy of like, okay, which Pokemon do you go to first? Because you can't encounter every single outbreak within a certain time. Like you'd only get it in a certain time period. So you have to kind of decide which ones you want to go for. Once you decide those ones, then you check it, you'll go through the motions. Sometimes there are certain icons that tell you of like after you catch everything, then maybe there'll be like a respawn with like all alphas or like all evolved Pokemon, or maybe you'll just restart it. Sometimes they'll give you berries when you catch them or battle them. So there's other things to it, but it's an easy way of just like cycling through to see what Pokemon are going to be shiny. Although the odds in a massive mouse outbreak are less than like a regular outbreak, if I remember correctly. At
Hmm.
least for shiny odds.
Which I really wish they'd give you the option to do either or. I think you still can, but the odds of like finding the same regular outbreak in an area are lower than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because whereas you used to go back to the village and do it, there would always be a greater chance of it being there. Now I feel like there's less of a chance of having the same regular outbreak
Mm-hmm.
being there again if you don't find it.
Right.
So there is that. I really wish you could choose between the two. I don't think you can. At least for finding shiny Pokemon, because like I said, I believe with finding them in the massive outbreak, you just keep checking each of the ones, and if you don't see it, like instead of encountering like going down and catching the Pokemon, I think it's like you just fly by. If you don't see it, you move on,
Mm-hmm.
and you just keep going until you find one in one of those outbreaks.
Right. Right. Yeah, so you just kind of like fly over there, you just go to a high point, just fly down, just strategize. So like
Hmm.
I'll set up a bunch of markers and whatnot and be like, okay, I'm gonna go here, 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 and you just find them as you go through, and Yeah, I mean, it's
Right.
all right. I mean, it's a quick way to just like know exactly instead of like resetting over and over. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I found
Another
some,
thing.
but overall, I've kind of got all the shinies I want to from the massive outbreaks.
Right, another thing we forgot to talk about was the space-time distortions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like if depending on how long you've been on a map, there's a chance that a space-time distortion can start, and
Mhm.
depending on the area you're in, there's like a list of Pokemon it gets access to.
Yeah, like hard
But
to find
essentially,
Pokemon.
yeah, essentially what it does is it like transports Pokemon from like different time periods or different forms
Mhm.
of Pokemon to that area for a specific amount of time. So
Mhm.
like you can find was it regular Sneasel and regular Weavile,
Exactly.
Magneton, the
The
fossils,
Porygon
the
line.
starters.
The starters you find post game.
Well,
But
post game, yeah,
yeah,
but
and
yeah,
then like
like
the Porygon line are in there, and also you find hard to find items too. So like you get like the shards, which you could use for crafting or sell them for money. You could get the items that are used to evolve certain Pokemon, like the
mhm,
trade cable or
the
the
trade
Reaper
cable.
cloth. Like you'll
Yeah,
just find a bunch of stuff, and these Pokemon all aggro. They're all out to get you.
yeah. So there's also that you have to battle, not battle. Well, you have to fight against the system in that to like
Yeah.
stay hidden and just like be able to
Mm-hmm.
catch all the Pokemon you can
Exactly.
because it does only last for a little bit. It
Exactly.
is also needed to complete your Pokedex because there are Pokemon that are only limited to the
Mm-hmm.
space time distortion.
Like some of them that we mentioned, like the Magnemite line and the Porygon line, are only in
Yeah.
the distortions.
But other than that, I believe we've covered everything. I mean, they did
Mm-hmm.
get rid of IVs and replace it with effort levels, which
Yeah.
are controlled through the what is it, the rock,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Yeah,
grit
like the
rock
Grit
and all that
Rock and
stuff.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, unknowns are also in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to like go through and like catch them all using like
Yeah.
a was it like the unknown decks,
E-
same thing.
exactly. So with
And
that,
they're all hidden throughout the levels, but
yeah.
they do give you like
But
some subtle hints.
yeah, and they don't run or anything like that. They just stay stagnant in one place. You just throw a Pokeball or whatever at them, and they'll
But
automatically
you
catch.
can fail to capture them, which is
Yeah.
funny because then
Mm-hmm.
you have to leave the area, go back to the village, and start over again for them to
I've never
appear.
failed to catch one, luckily.
I
But
even I did use like the Great Ball. I failed the one that was on the waterfall in the Obsidian Fieldlands
really,
because
that's funny.
I didn't even notice it because I went and I was like, huh, I'm missing I. Where is I? And then it's like in the Obsidian Fields. I was like, no, I caught that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through my box and it wasn't there. And I loaded the area back up and I was like, holy shit, it's there. I didn't catch it.
That's funny.
And then that's when I switched to catching him with Ultra Balls,
Uh
just so
huh.
I didn't feel it. Because before I
Yeah.
was catching him with
Because
Pokeballs.
I think I caught almost everything with a Pokeball, except for there's a couple of them I caught with like wing balls because they're just so far away.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You can also have like a random chance to encounter one of the Charm Sisters like in a random area. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're specific though.
Yeah, they
And
have a
then
certain like pattern of like where they'll show up and like when they'll show up, and also when you battle them, you got a lot of nuggets to make
yeah, for
money with.
selling. And
Yeah.
it's a really quick battle. It's just
Mm-hmm.
them with one Pokemon,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
except
But it
for
does ruin
Charm, who I
it
believe
does
has
ruin the
two.
flow though of like if you're like in the middle of like shiny hunting or you're doing something and then you all of a sudden have to be their domicile. They're like, okay, let's battle.
Hmm.
Like, ah, shit, I only have like a couple Pokemon that are like old fives and I'm gonna die.
Right. They do
Yeah.
introduce some weird like status effects in this game, like drowsy and frostbite.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much to say about this because I hardly ever encountered them.
Mm-hmm.
Drowsy is just another thing for sleep because Pokemon don't actually go to sleep; they just
Yeah.
get drowsy, and then like there's like
Exactly.
a chance
So
they can attack.
hmm yeah, and then same with frostbite as well. It's like it's like a burn basically, where it'll like you have less of a chance to move, but also you lower your it lowers your health or it lowers your special attack actually as well. Yeah, like a burn will lower your physical, but your a frostbite will lower your special.
But other than that, I believe we've covered most of everything in the game. There
Yeah.
is also a day and night cycle, so do Pokemon do appear at different times
Mm-hmm.
during day and night, but that's
Yeah.
easily changeable through your base camp. And I think
Exactly.
quick mention on the base camp is it's just an area to retrieve your Pokemon, heal, change time, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. There's also a fast travel point,
Right.
but there's nothing like too important that happens there other than story bits. You
Mm-hmm.
also have player customization with different outfits and whatnot.
Mhm. Which is nice too because in this one they kind of go back to the other games that aren't BDSP where like everything is individually customized. So like your hat, your clothes, your shoes, everything is customized. They're also pre-made like suits that you could use,
Hmm.
but I found it more fun to like individualize everything. Also, there's the beautician as well where you could change your hairstyle and hair color too, and you get more of those options as you progress through the game. So that was cool to have that customization. But
Right.
I just
There's
wanted to go with
also
more expensive stuff personally, which
right.
aren't
There's
too
also
expensive.
like a battle thing with Ingo and Zisa. I think you can
Yeah.
train against trainers
I
to
never
just
bother
battle
with
your
that
Pokemon.
actually.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither. But
Yeah.
it is there.
Yeah, exactly. It exists. But yeah, like
But
you said before, we had a lot to talk about this episode too. Like this is
it's a very big game to talk about because
mhm.
there's just so much stuff
It's
that we
so
can't just be
different.
like, oh, remember Red and Blue? That was
Yeah,
it.
exactly. No, this is like its own thing. And this, like, I think we said before in like the first episode, this is setting the precedent, I think, for what Scarlet
Right.
and Violet is going to be. Like this
Right.
is setting that new standard.
Right.
And yeah.
Because I did, yeah, it's like when I played this game, I think this is just going into end thoughts, right? Yeah, when I played this game and I was playing it and I was like in the middle, I was like towards the end of it, for me at least, I was like, I can't imagine the next game not being like this. I
Mhm.
can't imagine the next Pokemon game not having these kind of mechanics in it, because this is just an entire new bar for what the Pokemon franchise has to do, can be and should be.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
go back from something like this.
right. Although now that I haven't played it for like a long time, I'm starting to remember like how tedious it was to
Mhm.
encounter like aggro Pokemon,
Yeah.
because it's just like, dude, you're a fucking Shinx. Like I can
Mhm.
catch you like with no fucking effort. This is,
Mhm.
like, why do I have to battle you in order to
Yeah.
catch you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, and also for a while there on my own time, I was shiny hunting with like massive mass outbreaks, and I was just doing that just to kill time. And then after a while, after I got the ones that I needed, then I realized that there wasn't really much for me to go back to. But while in the moment and while the hype was still there, I was like all over this game. It's just that after you do everything you need to, there's not really much of a like
Right.
incentive to go back.
And I think that goes, yeah, into the thing that there might not be any replayability in this game,
Hmm.
because if you do want to replay this game, you have to remember before you do that, you have to do everything over again. You
Yeah.
have to complete the Pokedex. You have to
Hmm.
complete the story. You have to go and catch every single legendary
Yeah.
Pokemon. You have to catch
Hmm.
Arceus. In
It's
order to, I feel like you're giving up a lot to
mhm.
replay the
Yeah.
game,
It's
and it's not like the
limited
story isn't worth it.
replayability.
Yeah, I don't think the story. It's not that the story isn't worth it. It's just getting back to where you are currently after you beat the game is
Hmm.
just such a slog.
Yeah, exactly. So after I completed the main story once, like I didn't think that I wanted to go back again because like my save file is so far established that like I don't want to go back to square one again. I just want to like just continue from where I'm at
Right.
because like I
If you
can
do want
yeah.
to replay this game, I would highly recommend just creating a second profile on
Hmm.
your Switch and doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, for what it's worth, though, while I was in it, I loved it, and
Right,
overall, I'd have to give this game like I have to give it like an 8.5 to a 9. Like I really,
right,
really liked this game. I loved I love the characters. I love the plot. I love the different areas. Granted, I feel like that they could have had one more area and be cool, like a lava area. Some of the Pokemon were kind of cool. Like there's a lot of them that were kind of just like hit and miss. But there's a lot of mechanics and a lot of stuff that is going to set that precedent that are good precedents. And
right.
I'm happy with what they did with this game. And I hope that that they'll improve on this with Scarlet and Violet.
I'm kind of sitting where you're at. I would give this overall game an 8 out of 10. If you asked me when I was playing this game, I would have said a 10 out of 10. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I have had,
Some
time
time to
to
sit with it.
settle down, really,
Mm-hmm.
because I had that new Pokemon high.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely could see where some of the flaws are, like the story. Some of the catching mechanics become very monotonous. Looking for crafting items, really lost its luster after a while, because there wasn't any variation as to what you were getting.
Mm-hmm.
You were literally, the red one gets you the red tumblestone, the black one gets you the black tumblestone, the blue one gets you the blue. There wasn't like a chance to get something else
Yeah.
to craft a different ball. It was literally, you
Yeah.
get it, you get it.
It's very limited. Yeah. So I
Very
feel like that
limited.
if they care enough about that mechanic with Scarlet and Violet, then I think that it'll be more delved into. But for right
I
now,
don't think
it's very archaic.
I don't think they'll bring back the crafting system for Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
But
Yeah. I think it'll be more
I
modern.
feel like the things that will transfer over will be we do know that they said it will be open world.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the areas will be back. I feel like the
Yeah.
map will be back.
Yeah, because I mean,
Uh,
with this game, like people were calling it open world, but Game Freak outright said no, this is not open world. But with the new game with Scarlet and Violet, they are saying outright that it is open world. So
right. I
yeah.
feel like the following Pokemon or the throwing out of Pokemon will return
Mm-hmm.
the
Visible shiny Pokemon should be a thing still.
visible shiny Pokemon should return, and I feel like the same aspect of like the areas in this game will return. I just don't know how they're going to incorporate the trainer battles into it, because
Yeah.
I feel like every time we had those with the Charm Sisters, like you said, it really takes you out of the experience. I feel like there's a lot more I want to say, but like at the moment, I'm just like tapped out for ID,
Yeah,
tapped out for
yeah,
things
exactly.
to say.
We
But
definitely
overall,
we talked about pretty much everything.
right, I'll just say this: this game was a step in the right direction, a huge step in the right direction. It was
100%.
definitely the game that Game Freak needed to make, because for the last 26 years now, 27, it's been the same formula over and over again. Granted, there has been some
little changes here and there, but it's
little
not really...
changes here and there, but it's basically been the same thing.
Yeah.
This game was a much needed injection into the formula that changed, that really just flipped everything that we knew on its head, and really put Game Freak on a different path as to what they can do. There are definitely aspects of this game that has to be in Scarlet and Violet, otherwise this Game Freak is going to receive a lot of criticism and a lot of negativity from how could you go from this to this.
I think there's a reason why they had they contracted BDSP, that they wanted to put more time and effort into creating a new experience with Legends.
Right, and I feel like that it paid off for them. I don't have the sale numbers for this game on hand. Maybe you could do
they're good sales numbers, actually. I remember seeing it recently. Joe from Cerebi posted it. Is that the results of this one sales wise were pretty good, but also the Switch user base is really high too.
So maybe you could put on there whether or not this outsold BDSP. But yeah, it was definitely a step in the right direction. They needed this. Would I like to see Legends become its own spin-off games? Absolutely. I would love to see them do like a Ho-Oh, like immediately my mind jumps to Johto, because they have the whole story with the Burn Tower and Ho-Oh and Lugia.
Yeah.
And Johto is already super like antique with all of like the stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would love to see it like back in its heyday and stuff like that. Maybe even
when
a
the
little
Burn
bit of
Tower
Kanto.
wasn't a Burn Tower.
Yeah, when Burn Tower wasn't a Burn Tower, or the story of how Entei, Raikou, and Suicune became,
like the dependents of...
Yeah, the legendary beasts that they are.
Yeah.
And then also just the amount of like different forms they could do with maybe like, especially with the Space World demo, like some of the Pokemon there that they could do, like maybe a pre-evolution of Tangela. A new evolution of Meowth. They think they had
an actual evolution of Dunsparce.
Yeah, maybe an evolution of Dunsparce. There's tons of stuff they could do. I know it's a big thing already on the internet, on YouTube. Some guy tried to do it, and I think the Pokemon he picked were Combuskin. What was the other one? Combuskin. God, I'm trying to remember what he picked. But I know he picked Combuskin. I keep saying Combuskin. He picked Torchic and something else. Like, go look it up. It's like Pokemon Legends Celebi, I think.
You might have to send me a link.
Yeah, Pokemon Legends Celebi. And he's already done like pre-rendered stuff for it, like in Unreal Engine or something like that. It looks great, and it's really just like it shows that there is interest in another Legends spin-off.
Of this, yeah.
However, I don't feel like they should milk it like a main series game. I really feel like Legends should be like maybe like a every 4 or 5 year release. It should not be like it should have like a development cycle of like that kind of time. I do not think they should do like a year to year Legends release, because there are only so many legendary. There are only so many legendary Pokemon and so many unique stories you can tell with those Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, think about like Let's Go. They only had the one game, and that came out like 4 years ago now at this point.
Well, like, you say that, but everybody wants Let's Go Johto.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
I'm on that same boat. But it's been like 4 years
too.
since that, and that was just like the one thing. So who knows on if they're going to do more with Legends, or at least within a punctual time period. We don't know.
Yeah, but that was Let's Go, and that was the first foray. I feel like with Arceus, the numbers speak for themselves. Yeah. I really do like Let's Go 2 is like a maybe can be done. I really feel like Legends 2 is definitely something that they are planning.
Yeah.
At least in like the idea stage of what they want to do. Yeah. I really feel like the numbers have spoken, and they're like, okay, clearly people thought this was great. Let's lay the groundwork.
The logo kind of shows that this could be its own franchise, but with the way that they kind of like hinted with Scarlet and Violet, I don't know if they could do both, because they might seem like the same kind of game. I mean, as much as I want to see more Legends stuff, and I trust me, like a Legends Johto, I would trust all my money would go into that. but
Right.
I just
I
don't
doubt
know.
that they're
I don't
like
know.
there's going to be a lot of crossover. I
Unless
feel
they're
like
gonna make it completely different, like a different experience every time with Legends games.
yeah, like I said, I know there's gonna be some crossover, but I feel like Scarlet and Violet is gonna be less like Arceus than we're imagining it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not gonna
I
be
don't know.
a straight
Maybe
carbon
I'm putting
copy.
too much weight into it. I don't know. But
Yeah, but I definitely would
anyways,
love to see Legends become its own series.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely a breath of fresh air we needed. I would say 8 out of 10. This is definitely a must-play Pokemon game for any Pokemon fan.
Yeah.
If you, I don't, if you were on the fence about it, I don't know how you were, but if you haven't
Yeah.
played it and you want to
Seriously
play
get
it, and you were considering, I would say 100% get it. This is an
100%.
absolute buy.
I couldn't recommend this game enough.
This would have been the Switch seller had this come out with as a launch title on the Switch.
Yeah.
This probably would have rivaled Breath of the Wild for the #1 game on the Switch had they come out at the same time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Had it come out in the state that it is in now, not like whatever it was, when
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild came out.
Yeah.
Which is great because well, for me at least, Pokemon games have always been like my what do you call it? My drive to buy a new system. That is 100% why I bought a Switch, because I knew Pokemon games would be coming to the Switch. But but Pokemon I don't think has the reputation of a system seller, but this game has definitely cemented it for me that Pokemon is at least this game is a system seller for the Switch. If you do not have a Switch, I would recommend to buy get it and get Legends Arceus. I cannot endorse this game enough that you need to buy it.
Yeah, because I feel like at least with the handhelds, it was definitely the system seller, that's for sure. But now since they don't really have like the true like DS and Game Boy handhelds anymore, they are going to drive those numbers for sales, like with Sword and Shield, with all the other games that have been on the Switch. But yeah, this game was so freaking good, and if you even have any kind of semblance of interest in like action or RPG games, this is definitely one of the games to get. Like, I mean, I think I like Breath of the Wild more than this. I feel like that saying anything else would be kind of like sacrilege, but this game was so freaking good, and especially like what they offer you is just it's just worth every penny. Like, I had so much of a good time with this, and like especially for a first time player, like this is an easy sell for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Very easy.
But yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, supporting us. If you like what you saw, like, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for any updates on future videos and other Babblers episodes. I stream normally on Twitch. Bono streams every now and then as well, but if you want to check us out, links are down below.
Definitely every now and then.
Yeah.
Emphasize those
yeah,
words.
now and then. Yeah. But I'll still put your link on there. But yeah, also if you want to tell us what you thought, like leave a comment on the bottom over here too, so that way we'll know what you guys think.
If you wholeheartedly agree with us, or if you think
you disagree.
Origin Form Palkia is the best thing ever and we're fucking idiots,
then I'll block you.
I'll block you. Also, if you think Galarian Stunfisk is the best Pokemon ever, you are 100% right. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Do you see this ripped up shiny Galarian Stunfisk over here? That's what'll happen. That's what'll happen right there. Any kind of talk of Stunfisk, ripped up.
All right.
But yeah, so next time we will catch you for Babblers. So yeah, have a good one, you guys. Later.
Bye.